Welcome in, folks. Welcome in. It has been a very long time coming, and I cannot wait any longer. Omni, what's happening?
Oh my god. Hello everyone! I'm the last Omnitech, your favorite robot American, and welcome to session 0 of Legacy First Flight, the first live streaming of my Legacy tabletop role-playing system I've been working on for 20 fucking years. So, hey everybody, welcome in. It's about damn time.
Howdy.
Oh boy. So, let's talk some basics before we begin. First off, I am currently in the process of finishing and adding extra art and such to the campaign at the moment. We are, after all, in session 0. We're still working on solidifying characters and getting the little details done. So this is largely going to be a session about discussing the basics of the setting, discussing our characters, introducing them to each other, and figuring out what we're going to do, as well as lines and veils and all the other important things. And we're probably going to see if we can't get a little role play in at the end. Well, fitty on.
Fitty.
So,
Fitty.
now that I've introduced myself thoroughly as the creator and the GM of this game, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves one by one, both as players and as characters. We'll start clockwise in the display. So, looking at that. And of course,
it would be Bon.
Me? No. Somebody else go first.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, fine. Flip it to the other way. We go counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Well, thank you very much for the biddies, Natalie. Much love, much appreciated. Hey guys, I'm Derek. You know me because I'm on everything on the channel. Super excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this campaign for about as long as I've known Omni, because as soon as he was telling me about it, I was like, oh my god, I have to play in this. It sounds like exactly my kind of jam. So I can't believe we're here. It's like another Morning Castle moment where it's like, wow, we've been talking about this for so long and we're finally here. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god, yeah, I know, right?
Thank you, bro. But yeah, that's me. I am playing an Acris. I think we'll probably talk more about our characters in a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no, you are playing an Acris by the name of...
I want to make sure that I don't mispronounce my own name because this is the first session. Kushtaka.
Perfect. Kushtaka. I am super hyped to have this character on board. So let's go next. And we can just keep it with name and species. We'll keep it really simple. After all, I am currently right now with Affinity open, finishing the last of the character art. This will be for you, Paul. So the last one's on the way out the door. Who's next? Because that would be, I believe, Red. Yeah, that'd be you, buddy.
Okay, name, species, Harlan, Anazeli, go. No, I'm just kidding.
What about you?
I'm one of the 3 primary colors. I'm a content creator here on Twitch and Twitter. Currently in the process of trying to get a book out as fast as possible. I run Twitch streams on Tuesdays playing Magic the Gathering. Every other Thursday and every other Sunday, I run Pathfinder and Cthulhu, respectively. Cthulhu will be live this Thursday at 2 p.m. CST. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. Omni and I have done a lot of world building together. All of his notes that he's had from Legacy, I actually helped make them. I did them all myself, actually, and he stole everything from them.
Oh my god, you've done you've made so many Omni lore jokes, but this one's the most painful.
Omni stole all of my hardworking... Back in 1987, when we were in the studio working on Legacy TM, he stole all of my notes.
Matt Mercer was just across the hall, and he had some crazy ideas. Well,
yeah, Matt Mercer... he was back in the day when he was playing whatever characters he was playing. And
Red was also a fetus at that time too. So.
A fetus? Is that like somebody that like judges feet or like
a fetus?
Oh, a fetus!
It's a foot
I thought
expert.
You said a fetus.
It's a foot expert.
My God,
okay.
my heart.
Footspurt. Anyway, please go on to the next person.
JJ, that would be you. By the way, your jelly baby is officially on main screen, so I have finished the art for her.
Yay!
For them, I should say.
It's a jelly.
It is
Hello.
a jelly.
Hello, everyone. I'm JJ. I'm always here. If I'm not in the stream, I'm
And
in
adorable.
The chat. I'm everywhere. I'm super excited to be playing this game with my good friend Omni, who I've known for such a long time. Who, thanks to him, I know everybody else at this table. So,
Yeah.
and everybody else who I interact with in the TTRPG world. So, vibes. I will be playing an Oraname, aka the Jelly Bibis, and my character name is Amaya. Amaya Anahita. That's my name.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you, JJ. That's
AA
perfect.
played by JJ.
Played by
Also,
me.
yes. Also, huge thanks to JJ. I'm really glad to have you on board because I've been wanting to freaking roleplay with you since forever, and I'm so glad I finally have gotten a chance to do this thing with you that I've been talking about with you since we used to play Titanfall together.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah, no.
He's nice.
Hell yeah. Speaking of who's next in line, that would be Paul. Paul, go ahead.
Hello, I am Paul, aka Ampersand. I am playing a Sylph today, a Sylph pilot, I believe. I am a forever DM who is finally taking a player's seat, so need to check if I have dark vision and who I need to tell that to. But yeah, super excited. Like I said, normally running my own stuff. Not played with anybody on screen right now. I've DM'd Derek a couple of times.
So happy to have you
super
back, bud.
yeah, super excited for that. Gonna be a blast. And I heard Omni was only spending like a week on this system, so we're gonna see what he can come up with a week.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Omni and I
just
were
threw
in a
all this
garage.
together last minute. I don't know what this 20 years malarkey is
Just
all about.
razzing him.
Omni and I
Oh
were
my
in a
God.
garage last week with just boxes of ramen coming up with them.
Is that a Breaking Bad
there's a
reference?
part of me that wishes that was actually fucking true because it's one of those things where people ask like, "Oh, this is a cool project. How long have you been working on?" You're like, "Oh God, you asked me to carbon date myself. My game's so old, like you can cut my rings open."
Yeah, the
Yeah,
guy-
I was gonna say,
Like-
you see the rings.
The guy that Omni stole all the ideas from is still locked up in that garage.
Oh yeah, somewhere buried under the floorboards. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm really glad I get to play with you finally. I've been wanting to for a long time. This is just a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Bon, it's on you.
I know. Oh no. I am Leandra, also known as Bon Bon Butcher, usually everywhere. And I haven't played with any of you except for you, Derek, like yesterday. That was probably the first time ever.
I think that was your first role playing session
Yeah, it's my
ever.
first role playing session ever.
Yeah.
No way.
So-
That was awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was fun. You were awesome.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. And I'm also playing. I mean, that's pretty much this Etanria on
Yes.
on Omnis. I am nervous. Okay,
It's all right.
We're done.
You're doing
We're done.
great. And your character?
Becky Booker, the human engineer / rig jockey.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. So I think that is a perfect opportunity for us to go from the basics of our characters to go into a little bit more detail about the world. So for those of you who have noticed, this is not Dungeons & Dragons. This is not Pathfinder. This is a totally separate system. Yeah, holy shit, everybody. Surprise. Throw out your old character sheets. We're doing something new.
I had a
Um,
D20.
Good news. You can still use that in this system
That's good.
eventually.
Oh.
So, for those of you guys who
music.
are unaware, we're going to talk about some basics of the system's mechanics. First off, this game is known as an exploding dice system, which means that if you roll the highest number on a die, so as an example, a 6 on a d6, you roll it again and keep adding the dice together until eventually you roll something higher, lower than the highest number. This means you can get preposterously huge rolls.
Oh, that,
Just
that
kind
meant
of-
something different when we were making the game. When you said exploding die, you said we should throw a firecracker at the game master.
I mean, but it's hard to do that remotely.
That's
So
fair. I'll mail it to you.
there you go.
But you have to
God.
open it as soon as you
For
get it.
legal reasons, that's a joke.
I have to go to the post office to intercept it before they get a chance to look at it. So yes, so it is an exploding dice system. This means the game is capable of creating incredibly large numbers. This is my way of saying technically anyone can do anything. Is it likely? No. Is it going to happen? Yes. So there is the very real possibility that a player will roll a number well into the hundreds. I've had it happen before. It is hilarious when it happens. It's even funnier when the GM does it to the player. So on top of that, we also have this system built off of a core attribute system, which has five stats: might, Yeah, might, coordination. It's been a bit. Give me a minute. Yeah,
Mhm.
might, coordination, intellect, willpower, and endurance. These are your 5 governing attributes. Every roll in the game comes down to it except for weapon damage. Likewise, this is also a luck die system. So anytime these guys roll their attribute die, they're going to roll 1 die and then a d6. They roll and they take the higher. Pretty straightforward, honestly. It's not too bad. Is the dice a fire hazard? I don't know, AZ. I've never tried to set one on fire before. Nothing says playtest like live trial by fire. Oh my god, seriously.
Let us know at home what you think.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Now, also, I want to let you guys know again, this is technically the first ever run of the beta test of Legacy. I have run, I've run Legacy before in the past, but it has changed its name and its purpose like 3 times. It was originally High Caliber, then it changed from High Caliber to Legacy Mark 1, and now we're currently in Legacy Mark 3, which is the final, gonna be released version of it, and this is the first run of it. So we will be live patching it. I also want to let everyone know out there, if you're interested in playing this game, I will be releasing the beta for free as soon as I get it in a condition where I feel a little bit more comfortable releasing it, where it's not just filled with holes like Swiss cheese. So I imagine probably within the next couple of
Me
weeks.
too.
So let's see what else we got. Okay. Basic plot-wise and setting-wise. And also, let's get that music going, because apparently it just turned off. There we go. So, yeah, no problem, buddy. It's like, why is it not?
You sound like you're underwater. Oh, there you go.
Perfect. Yeah, it just takes a second. Legacy is 400 years in the future from now. Humanity has taken to the stars and has begun to colonize worlds and explore. With the advent of the spacefold drive, any distance can be traversed instantaneously. And while there are considerations, a terrifying shockwave of spatial proportions that happens at both the destination and the egress point, you can go anywhere in the universe all but instantly. So, after a couple hundred years of us flying through space, arguing over how we should develop as a species, and ultimately engaging in a massive 200-year faction war, which we finally wrapped up, humanity has joined the rest of the species of the galaxy in a larger confederation known as the Union. Think of it as the Space UN, and you're not too far off. So, Union, UN, keep things easy. So, at the moment, we're not the young ones on the block anymore. Humanity's been a part of the Union for 200 years. The newest folks on the block are actually Paul's character species itself. But there are currently 8 sapient species in Legacy. They're all highly diverse, very few of them are humanoid, and their stats reflect this. As a result, I want to indicate to everyone here and everyone out there who's watching, the lowest rank you have in a stat, 1, a D4, is not considered low. It is the galactic average across all life forms. And that is literally the stupidest thing you can say when you're standing a skeletal human next to an iron-based Shrike next to a literal gelatin blob of an ornament. So bear in mind, different strokes, different folks, but we keep things relatively simple in terms of that. So 400 years in the future, as the Union has expanded and the 8-member species have grown, they have extended outwards, needing new and newer colony worlds. The current population is in the trillions for the galactic community. The Clique alone have over 1 trillion individuals to their species. As a result, new worlds are constantly in demand. That's where our players are coming in. Our players are starting off on a little world by the name of Beryldine, out on the upper northern reach of the galaxy. And I say northern, looking at a galaxy map from our perspective right now. So you're looking on the outer, I guess that'd be counter spinward side of the Milky Way, one of the outer rings, this little world known as Beryldine, a beautiful blue ocean world whose oceans are just a little too blue for comfort. And there's a reason for that. Their oceans are poisoned. Turns out, terraforming worlds is a long process, and it takes decades. So, the Frontier Corporation, a group within the Union, has sent colonists there to help terraform it. The process takes decades, even with the extremely advanced technology of the Union. And our player characters are all going to this world for various reasons. So, at this point, I think we can start delving a little more into characters. Also, I keep hearing the boop, and I'm like, right, we're here. We're in the game. So,
Well,
no, you're good. By all
Well.
means, it doesn't matter. I'm fine with that. By all means, everybody throw dice at the table. I don't care. So,
Yeah.
oh, okay. in
I'm
that
just
case,
gonna randomly just start going. Pew!
Let me grab my
So-
DM Studious dice TM.
Oh, where's my sign? Hold on.
Am I allowed to?
So-
Am I allowed to roll physical dice for this? By the way, Omni, that's something I meant to ask earlier.
Yes, you may. You may.
then
I
Studious.
did want to let you folks know we're going to be rolling in this system, as I mentioned. As your character sheets are all there, if you go over to your
You
right
bet.
to your journal, you can click on that. It'll have your character sheet uploaded fully as a PDF. You can scroll all the way through. Likewise, also, that's separate to your character sheet, so it's a separate little handout you should all have access to. On it, it'll have in the top left your attributes. Those are what you're going to roll everything for. Your disciplines are all tied to an attribute. That includes combat, which is ballistics, combat, and ordnance as the general rule. Derek, you use hacking, and also JJ, you use your various social skills in combat because you're a negotiator.
I am Hacker Man.
Yeah, you're a hacker. You're in. So let's go introduce our characters a little more in depth.
Mr. Game Master, my journal is empty.
You know why? I know why. It's
Mine
because
is-
that's because you two joined last, and I need to actually enable that. So let me go here and edit that in.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
you good? You
good.
good? I'm popping you in.
Jackson.
Okay, I have all my stats written anyway, so
True.
I'm gonna play either way, Omni. I'm
Hell
gonna play
yeah.
either way.
There we go.
Mum. There we go.
That should
Oh,
work.
I have things now.
Yes, you do, because I'm manually enabling them one by one.
Fuck yeah.
By the way, Derek, this is still my favorite sign. Every time we learn something new here at Dim Dim Studios, I have to put this up. It's in my contract.
Oh my god.
You heard it here first, folks.
And here we go, JJ. You should have your character accessible now, and your character sheets coming next. And just to make sure we're all good. Okay, can everyone access their character sheets and their character profiles?
I can't see mine.
You don't have
Yes.
yours?
So
I don't. I
have-
just have the art for the token.
I got
Oh,
you.
this is so
Same.
pretty.
I just have
Working
the
on
art
it.
for the token as mine as well.
All right, hang on. We are getting everything in one by one.
This is why we have session 0. Let's go.
Exactly. Makes things easier. Here we go. So that should work. So now Becky Book should have everything there. Harlan, you're fully set up. So are you, Derek.
I am-
And JJ, you should have everything now too. Everyone should have everything. We all good? Sick.
I don't
all
have
right.
attributes. Attributes are abilities. I'm not supposed to though, right?
You should. Why the fuck do you not? What?
I do not know.
Give me a second.
I have the PDF, but I don't
That's the
have
PDF.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you should-
no, it's on the
Okay.
PDF.
Okay, cool.
I'm also going to go out of the way and explain this to everyone who's watching. I am sane, mostly. I'm not going to go out of my way to learn how to program a character sheet into Roll20
That's
that
fair.
I'm still editing the format of live. So,
Why not? Come on. I mean,
You know, it's not like I'm not doing all the art and everything else. anymore.
what have you
Like,
been doing for 20 years, if not that? I mean,
is it not enough for the one-man band to play every instrument? Must they also mix the club? Like,
obviously, yeah. You must.
Turn the club up.
That's very fair. So, okay. So let's go around and start introducing our characters. And this is where we're going to start getting into learning a little bit about the world and the setting and specifically where we're going to be at. So, Derek, why don't you introduce us to your character a little more conceptually as you've thought of them and how you developed them so far. And we'll go around Robin and introduce characters as we like.
I don't know how much you want me to give away.
However much you feel comfortable giving away.
Okay.
This is up to you. It's up to you guys to keep your own character secrets. So if you want to keep something secret, keep it secret. I'll remember
Okay.
it. But
I'll give them the concepts while retaining the actual the juicy bits. Kind of like John Wick, but not in the same way. More like the assassinate other people for an organization. Wanted to get out of that, became an insurance adjuster for planets. and now trying to make it in the world, well, I guess galaxy, through their own talents and traits that they've gathered, to make it a better place, make a place for people like him.
Aw.
Well, that sounds good to me. Okay, so we've got that, and also I'm just gonna put that there so I can hear everyone a little better. Perfect. All right. So
Mechanically, if you want me to
also-
explain the mechanics of my character, I can do that as well.
yes, please, because you all also gonna be fighting together frequently, so learn how you all interact with each other.
I have a sniper rifle. It is ordnance. It is a big fucking gun. I'm also really good at hacking. I have a number of programs that I can use to reorient environments or situations in unforeseen ways and not even be detected while doing it. In close quarters melee combat, I have 2 beam guitars, and I'm really good at not being detected.
Our boy is, as I recall, an Acris Nocturne, which, culturally speaking, the Acris are giant bird people. Literally, I can't describe that better. Giant, like, between 8 to 10 foot tall falcon people. But the Nocturnes are unique. They're not just your ordinary raptor. They're actually more like owls. And so they see in the dark. They move a little more quietly in the dark. They're pretty slick, as well as also having, like, you know, a 20-foot wingspan. So they're pretty sick.
I'm very happy to play a
And
bird
Derek
person.
is the archetypal sneaky boy.
Yeah.
So
Just when I thought
entertainingly,
I was
because
out,
Derek,
they pulled
then
me
you're
back in. Yep. That's my character's
so-
model, I guess. Condensed into a phrase.
I'm fucking excited for your character. I love them.
Thanks, but
So Derek's character is also being an Acris. Their culture is very militant. So if you're aware of Mass Effect out there, anybody who's lived in the past 10 years, then you'll probably be familiar with the Turians. They're a
Yeah.
pretty close analog to what the Acris are. So if you're wondering how militant we're speaking, their government, the Stratocracy, draws no division between their government and their military. It is the same. So if I want to be a mayor, I am probably also a major or a marshal or a knight. So yeah, they're pretty everywhere. Also, very quickly, Paul, I have drawn a really quick self. What color do you want their eyes?
Green, please.
Green, you got it. All right, I'm literally over here like crafting the last tokens. I have been very busy, folks. Thank you for your patience. So, now we've got Derek's character a little described. Let's go on to our next player, Red. Why don't you give us a little bit about your character? Again, as many secrets as you want to keep them. As many as you don't.
Okay. Let's see here. So sorry, I just sat back down. So Harlan is Harlan isn't like a traditional Anazali in the way he was raised by his entire species. He was actually just kind of like he's an outlier in the regard that he was actually just raised by humanity. So he has no love or no care for his actual species just because he never had any like direct connection to them. His parents dumped him off, and it's just like, okay. So he was just raised by humanoids. So he's had his family. He's 300 years old, so he's seen like most of his family come and go. All the people he used to work with come and go, and he's like, the only family he really has left of the originals are like the great grandchildren of the people that he was raised by and that sort of thing. I guess it would be great grandchildren depending on how long humans live for. And like
about 200 years, so I'd say grandchildren.
Grandchildren's reasonable, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean he's an outlier. He joined the military because he's just like, well, a lot of other prospects were sort of like closed to him since the fact that he wasn't a human himself. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to go to try to do like human social studies as an Anazali because that's kind of like weird or anything of that ilk. So he's just like, I'm just going to be a soldier and live a simple life. And that didn't work out for him at all. He went on to he's pretty much just a mercenary at this point that kind of given up on the whole ideology of like, oh, fight for a good cause. It's like, no, I'm gonna fight for my cause because that's a good cause because it directly contributes to me. Donate to my charity.
Mhm.
My charity goes right into my pocket. So he's gone from selfless to more selfish over time. So he's working wherever the paycheck's paying because he's got a lot of debt.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Red. And you are an Anazali soldier as well. I
Indeed,
recall.
yes. Hannah's always soldier.
Okay. So, for those of you who are, again, new to the setting, because, you know, everyone kind of is, unless you've been watching all of my streams on my art streams like a maniac, in which case, thank you. I appreciate
AKA
your
Mean
patronage. But, yeah. I don't expect that of anyone. And if you did, thank you. That's super flattering. For everyone else, the Anazali don't age after they hit their middle age. They hit about 30 equivalent, and they just keep going. Biologically, they have modified the crap out of themselves. They're the oldest running species in the galaxy. They literally have many individuals who are well into their 5,000th, 6,000th year. Like 6,000 is about as old as you're going to find in the Anazali, but there's a couple older. And honestly, what kills them is usually accidents, gunfire, violence, falling off a chair or a ladder in your house. Same shit that would kill a human will kill an Anazali. The only one that won't, age and disease for the most part. They're pretty well genetically modified out of any of the things that would have killed them on their homeworld. Good thing they're in the greater galaxy where they can now catch all sorts of crazy mumps and measles.
MGMO. MGMO.
Yeah, GMO. Exactly. You know, hey, you know, you are home, you are grown in a tube. But so like, you know, it is what it is. Also on top of that, we should delve into a quick little thing. This will lead a little bit into a partial line and veil here I wanted to talk about with everyone and make sure you're all comfortable with it. This stream, and this is for everyone who's out there too, this campaign will deal with topics of authoritarianism and fascism. I will steer away from the hardest, most terrifying imagery because the real world has enough of that shit. And I don't feel like, you know, putting us on World Star with a disgusting description. But the Anazali did, for many thousands of years before the current Union, rule the galaxy as a fascistic empire. And in doing so, they led to the near annihilation of all galactic culture. Every species but them were wiped out as a result of a terrifying, horrifying event known as the Ataraxi Scourge. This thing swept across the galaxy, consumed life like the Flood, the Borg, the Replicators. Think of whatever horrifying sci-fi monster. I'll get into more detail about them as the plot makes it relevant. But they wiped out damn near everything. And the Anazali barely survived on 5 little fleets with only a couple million individuals left out of a civilization that once numbered in the trillions. They are still recovering from this today. And in fact, by most Anazali's assessment, they're probably not going to recover at all. Their species are on a quick track to extinction, losing your homeworld to do that to you. So, just to make sure everyone's okay with that as a topic, are we all good with potentially you guys dealing with some space douchebags?
Always.
Right.
I am a space douchebag, so that fits right in.
You're 300 years old. You barely qualify for the you don't have sins of the father. You're like the great grandchildren.
Bro, I just work here. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I just work here. It's a Spendies. So Space Wendy's, you know.
Yeah, I got it.
Natalie might not be in the stream, but we got to add Space.
She's in chat.
There you go. Hi, Natalie. Yes. So, all right. So now we've discussed that. Let's move on to our next character, JJ. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your character?
So I am going to be playing an Orname. And I like that because jelly. It's like a little jelly. It's like a space jelly baby. Like imagine some Jello in space. That's me. That's my character, and I love that for me.
I love that for you.
Yes, thank you.
You're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
Just dance and
I'm
shake.
gonna be doing a lot of jiggling around. So, anyways.
wait, okay, so isn't Jello in space? So that's a suspended vegetable.
There you go. Science.
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 So my character comes from the upper middle class / lower nobility of the Orname. and I went to an off-core college to learn how to be a negotiator because I'm playing an Orname negotiator. And so I am on Beraldine because I am doing my first internship. My character is a little bit stoic, mostly stoic, so there won't be the normal warmth JJ vibes here.
Mm.
But-
Oh no.
so I'll just kind of be like, oh, that's cool.
I fell.
Just because Orname are like kind of wary of like strangers and like other species, they're not very like openly warm to them. They're kind of just like just like keep it pushing. So I'm very excited to play this character. Basically my role will be setting up meetings between two of the people who are doing things on Beraldine. I won't say who or what they're doing, but that's basically what I'm doing. So I'm here. I'm a fresh face, fresh out of college, little jelly baby. Who's I'm gonna say jelly baby because I love it.
Did you?
Like sets down for a minute.
Beautiful.
Hello, I am Jelly Baby.
Code name Jelly Baby.
Your honorary. That's gonna be my call sign. Jelly baby.
Your Honor, Jelly
Jelly
Baby
Baby.
is in the nest. I repeat.
My weapon.
No, you're a jelly bean because you are the sweetest bean.
There you go.
Oh.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah. No, you're like one of those
Um,
like those beans that have like weird flavors, like sweet corn or whatever,
Yes.
Sweet corn.
and like grass.
Oh god.
Let's see. For my weapons, so
Oh,
I
they're talking about that
have a hand
Yeah,
cannon,
we'll get to it. Yeah.
which is great. Because I just go. And that just fires
Hand
off.
cannons in Legacy, for those of you in the audience who are wondering, are the equivalent of giant handguns. And when I
Yes.
say giant, I mean they're basically, there is no caliber smaller than like a 45 special in
Yes.
like this setting. Everything be big bullets for hand cannons.
So it just goes, you know. And then I also, yeah. So I'm just gonna go. Pop, 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 pop. And then
That is how
I
a gun
also
works.
I also have a concussion rifle because it's not really fun unless you're knocking people out.
True.
You know.
Aren't
And
you
I
the
have a-
negotiator?
Yes.
So entertainingly, the choice of a concussion rifle is a really good one for her because
yes.
concussion rifles have two awesome traits. One, my camera froze. I saw that.
Mhm.
One, the concussion rifles batter people about. They have the slam keyword and occasionally critical knockdown. So when you hit someone with it, you literally take their piece and you just flick them around the battlefield, however much that slam has on it. So it's a great way to displace targets. And two, they have non-lethal. They're one of the few guns in the game that you can actually dial the thing down to a stun setting and lay someone out on their ground and not kill them with bullets. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And to
negotiate.
answer Red's question, yes, I am the negotiator. So as the negotiator, you have to know that sometimes people just don't want to talk anymore. And I got to get you out the way. You're in my way.
You gotta beat some sense
No.
into them.
I don't want to kill you, but you have to be removed in another capacity. So if
Mhm.
that means I got to knock you out for a little bit, that's what I'm going to do, you know?
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Yes.
Slam.
And I also have a taser. You know,
You
in
Do,
case,
yes.
in case things be getting feisty and then, you know, this person is they're trying to do some things. We're trying to get the non-lethal route. I'm just, and then that's it. We go. You know?
We ball.
Howdy.
Fuck it,
I will
Eagles.
also indicate for everyone out there who is currently watching, unlike in the real world, there is a tiny bit of fantasy I can put in this. And in this one, we don't have to worry about, heart palpitations or pre-existing conditions that might make tasers lethal. In this setting, they are just non-lethal. Just assume that, okay? Just
Yes.
please. Okay.
Unless I
This-
roll
that in
really
real
good. Then it might go real lethal real quick.
Do a crit.
And just be like,
As
oh,
long
he's
as
dead.
you
Oh,
say it's
wow.
non-lethal, I respect that. But if you describe how you're boiling someone's eyeballs out of their head, then yes, I might make it lethal.
We
Do
never
it.
know. We'll see how
All
the
right.
dice roll, you know?
My favorite execution method.
Just-
Foil.
It's gonna be an Ivy
Death
2.0.
by
Burn away all
Nice.
islands.
I love boy.
Yeah, that's pretty much my
Um,
character. I'm an Oraname. I'm a negotiator. I have a lot of non-lethal weapons that can become lethal under the right circumstances, and I am a upper middle class, prissy, stoic person. There you go. Much love,
Yeah,
folks.
That's perfect.
Righteous.
I also want to point out one really fun thing for the audience out there about the Oraname. If you're wondering what species you might want to play in this game, or in any game, I would recommend you take a look at all of them, obviously. The Oraname have a really cool ability. They can get up from death once a day. They have the ability to regenerate from any degree of injury. One time after they die, they can spend at least one of their motes of legacy. Motes of legacy are rerolls every character has access to. Think of them as hero points from Pathfinder, or Mulligan's inspiration from D&D. You are all familiar with this. You can expend one of those, and when you do, you don't die. You just go into a hibernation state for D6 hours, and then you wake up fresh and fancy-free with all your health back and no injuries. Because they're gelatin people, basically. The Oraname
Are
are
they?
somewhere between
She
octopus,
didn't mention it,
squid,
Jerry. I
and...
didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Just a little bit,
I
I thought it was fungus.
Should have said something,
But yeah,
JJ.
no.
That would've
As
been
a
I
very
should
cool.
have. I'm so sorry, Pablo. I'm so sorry.
But as a result, this does mean they can once a day get up from death.
So I can comedically
really
kill JJ's
fucking
character and it'll be funny. And it
Yeah.
won't be mean.
You
Probably not for
could.
JJ, but yeah.
I imagine they'd be less keen about that.
Okay, JJ, can you come back from a rocket launcher point blank?
Yes.
I'm talking like javelin levels of like lock on and just like search and destroy missiles.
Yes, because I am gelatinous. Yes. So
That's
I can
fair.
come back and be like, ha ha ha. Psh, 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 with
JJ
my hand
respawn.
cannon.
JJ respawn.
I will
just
also
fucking-
indicate you can do that once per day. So just remember, once per day. You never know. I might double tap you. And also for the record, it doesn't protect you from being double tapped.
Yes.
So if your character goes down and you go into hibernation and someone walks up with a double-barreled shotgun and decides to turn your gelatin from gelatin to gelatin pudding, then that that will do it. Yeah,
That'll
will
be
it.
me.
I'll do me in.
Can you?
I just
can you ever
imagine
have
that
two
character being like,
gelatins?
hey, have you died yet today?
Right, aren't you supposed to be too depressed to do anything about that?
Yeah. Like,
No.
You got to find your fun somewhere, right? Speaking of, Red, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about what your character brings to the table. So what's your character bringing to the table? What you got?
Yeah, I don't mean to get up my own arsenal, but let's see here. Where's my arsenal? Where the inventory,
that
please?
character
Okay.
got him.
Fucking
Is
got
what
him.
took me out.
Got him. Okay, so I have semi-powered armor, so I can just punch you guys really hard, harder than normal. I got a civilian model camera, cool, so I can take pictures of you guys getting punched really hard.
World
Which everyone has a
Sword!
wrist link, by the way. When you see the word wrist link, the Gami tool. You really aren't
Also,
too far off.
I have something called a collider
So-
gauntlet. Gauntlets. No, just
I
gauntlet.
forgot
So
you had a
it's
collider gauntlet.
so it's like an onager gauntlet. If you're familiar with Tal, I can just punch you so fucking hard, I'll put you in a different time zone.
Ooh.
Power
No
fist.
offense. So I got a survival blade, blah. I got a marksman's rifle to be nice and accurate at range. I got a breaker shotgun to be up close and personal, and I got an M4 javelin rocket launcher to take out vehicles and any other people that might offend me. So this is fantasy. This is like science fiction. I know that javelins can't actually lock onto people, but shut the fuck up. They will.
Mm,
If they piss me off enough, I will lock onto people. But yeah, I think that's everything.
Okay, to everyone that the rule is for lock on, you choose normal targets.
Hell yeah.
This is 400 years in the future. I hope we figured out how to lock on to a man-sized target now.
I hope
So-
not. I'm
It's like we
scared.
need.
Everyone reconvene in 400 years and we'll check. See what's happening about the lock-on system.
JJ will be a jellyfish. You know, it'll be a great time.
Yeah.
No, but
In 400 years, the wars are going to be fought with robots in real life.
hell yeah. I prefer
I mean,
that.
yes. Again, I will also indicate this is science fiction, but for the sake of entertainment, and also for providing a space opera setting, which, by the way, is very difficult to do in any level of reality, I have made some some concessions to just the fantastic. One of those is the fact that 1, melee weapons are possible. 2, people still fight wars. 3, everyone can speak the same language. And that's because of, at least in this, I've explained it away with you all, when you go to sleep, are trained how to speak languages in other languages subconsciously. So, you know, however old you are, that's how many days of tutoring you've had in.
It's the Venture Bros.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yes. Only less dystopian and with less parental disappointment. So yeah, little concessions to be made here and there for the fun of the setting. But, you know, there we go. I also believe, Red, you have a hard suit, as I recall.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I have a semi-powered. Do I have a hard suit on top of the semi-powered armor?
You do. Those are 2 different sets of armor. So semi-powered armor is just like your normal day-to-day. A hard suit is a whole nother ballgame. I'll get you the stats for that later. I didn't have a chance to finish making the sheet. So
okay.
I will get that to you next time. You're already wearing better armor than anyone else, though, by a leap and a bound.
Yeah, no, literally.
But
I'm wearing power armor. I'm wearing like Brotherhood of Steel levels of like semi-powered armor. So
how much in debt are you over this?
I don't want to talk about it.
He did say he was in a lot of debt, so
I am currently in some debt. That being said, I could probably pay it off with a few jobs, so we'll be fine.
Yeah,
We're just gonna get the biggest.
that is the
job we
thing I
can.
also want to break.
No.
Yeah, I also want to mention to everyone out there that in Legacy, when you're making your character, you can go into debt. Unlike in the real world, it's not someone's breaking your kneecaps for this shit. It's you get a loan from the Space Bank, and the Space Bank just will casually skim a little chunk of your money off until you pay it off. So the MIG Bank is what it's called, Mantle Intergalactic. We'll get into the hard details of that shit later. I'm really dropping all the hard lore right now. So, yeah, no. As a result, you can start off the game in debt and buy really expensive shit, or you can, you know, be fiscally responsible and accept that your character's not going to be super awesome at the first onset of the game.
I didn't accept
but hey,
that.
you know what?
I didn't accept such
Yeah.
terms.
I definitely accept
Red
it.
basically decided I'm going to play a Spartan 3 from Halo Reach. Like, is what it is. You just start in that level of gear, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. I love it.
I'm pretty much Doom guy.
Pretty much, yes.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of
Respect.
Paul, speaking of really heavy metal, Paul, why don't you introduce us to what your character does?
Hi guys, my name is Louis, Louis Vuitton. I'm a sylph. I'm all red and I've got newly coloured in eyes that are green now, apparently. I'm kind of surprised that I'm
asked for
here.
it.
I did, yeah, that's fair. Because I'm from like a planet and they class where I'm from as homeless, but I'm not really homeless. I just didn't put my island on Google Maps, so no one knows where it is. So they call me homeless, but I've just got a secret island of house. And I'm on what is effectively my gap year. I'm out on I think you described it as a pilgrimage. I think that's the right word. Yeah, where I'm going out and I'm supposed to bring knowledge back to my clan, my family, my island of people. So I just keep saying yes to events and offerings. And then someone put me in a spaceship and I flew away from my world and my island. And now I'm a pilot, apparently. And I'm in this really big mech suit, which is a lot bigger than me, but I'm just constructing stuff and moving things around. And it's a blast, really. I'm loving every second of it. I've never killed anyone, so I don't really know how I'm going to feel about that. It might be fun. I don't think so. Who knows?
Depends who
But
you kill.
yeah, we all know about weapons and stuff. I don't really have many. I have a hand cannon. I have a survival blade. I have a wrist link as well. I have a civilian mode wrist link, which is nice, and this big ass mech suit that I call Donatello or Shellhead. It could probably squish people and bop them on the head, but mostly I'm just here for driving and to get to know new people and to learn a bit about the world. And hopefully someone offers me a ride back to my house, because that'd be great. But until then, just here for the lols, really. Just my can-do attitude, and yeah, that's fine. This is fine.
In the year of our Lord, 2422, you're here for to lol.
For chills. I think that's a religious thing at this point,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
What weapons do I have? Is that my
And
inventory?
God said unto man, let there be light.
no,
Let us pray.
no.
Yeah, so Yeah, you have that your inventory, but also on your final page, you'll also all notice I have taken the liberty of going through your character sheets and adding onto the back side of them more details about your character's individual stats work. Likewise, also I have gone out of my way for you, Gesundheit. I have, for you, Paul, took the liberty of taking one of the older sheets I have for the mech, which still works statistically, modifying it with its new modified rules, and slapping it on the back of your character sheet. So if you're wondering what your mech looks like, it's there on the very back.
Pretty cool. I like that. That's a badass mech. There you go. Look,
I can't claim that art is mine yet. I am working on my version of it. I will upload it shortly, but I literally grabbed that off of Google Docs quickly from my old prototype designs. So don't worry about showing that off on stream yet. I just finished making a construct page for everyone to see what mechs, hard suits, and people look like to scale in this setting.
Is mine the middle one, the black and blue one?
Correct. In that gauge of size. Yeah. So, yeah, Red, you're the second smallest one, but bear in mind your hard suits are so strong and durable. They are meant to fight mechs. And basically, when everyone goes, oh, there's mechs on the battlefield, they turn to hard suits who sprint across the battlefield and swarm them like ants and pull them apart with their bare.
I'm just here to move boxes. Please don't swarm me.
I'm here to hit the legs off of spiders.
Oh. So I
I feel like we should also mention, Paul, your character doesn't just have a mech. As I recall, your character is a very, very fantastic weapon on that mech. Only one, but it is a good one.
Yeah. So I have 2 manipulator claws, which are just my hands in the mech. They're grabby. And I have a ASCW MCW V1 chain lash, which is basically a chain. If someone looked at a chain and thought that needs to be a chain sword, a chain link thing, and I can throw it out and it will
whip.
And it'll act like a chainsaw blade. So it'll go like zzz, go round. You know what a chainsaw looks like.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I don't need to describe a chainsaw to you. Google it. It's fine. And so I'm very excited to wrap that around some stuff. Maybe people, maybe things. Who knows?
Cool.
Maybe a tree.
Ostensibly, it's an industrial piece of machinery for clearing land and trees. But if I took a chainsaw and I took the guard off of it and I just pulled the trigger down and let the blade spin under its own inertia, I've made something horrifyingly dangerous. But
I love it.
God, is it?
I'm here for it.
But for now, it's a non-lethal weapon because I just use it on trees and grassland. It might come in handy later. We'll find out.
That will soon change.
It's non-lethal for now. It's non-lethal only because it's not being turned on anyone. It is 100% fucking lethal.
It has a 0% kill rate because I haven't tried to kill anyone with it.
You can't bring that in here. Why? It's a weapon. I've never killed anybody with it.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm sure that argument will work super well at the TSN.
Yeah, this is free. Thank you very much. It's brand new. Okay.
One of my favorite parts of this also is because it is a construct, and you've all seen the scale and size of this thing, be aware that constructs are large creatures, effectively on the battlefield. So if you're familiar with D&D, you know that means you're now a 2x2. Same thing here. In Legacy, I want player characters and other people to encounter diverse and unique enemies, and one of the easiest ways to do it is put them in a mech suit. So there you go. There's also rules for aerospace craft, so Paul, as a jockey, can eventually pilot a ship when we get there.
Not while I'm wearing my mech suit, though. That would be too hard. Can't do that. I can't do both of those.
No, but if you get the right one, you can fly your drop ship with your mech suit underneath it like a Pelican Warthog combo from Halo.
That would be pretty cool.
Totally doable.
Nice.
So, finally, Bon, we're at you. Why don't you introduce us to Becky Booker a little bit, and again, keep as many secrets as you want and explain as much as you'd like.
Okay, as an engineer / rig jockey, I can deploy shields that can move with you. So, please be careful. Don't die on me. I can shut down rig commands, basically counter attacks. And I have essentially magic missile. It's Seeker, actually. It just I have 5 dads. We started our own company, Booker Industries, which I represent on this frontier setting because I've been here for 6 months and I've been building shit and repairing it. I would say I have a very obvious aversion to humans, but very interested in aliens. But
Perfect.
yeah, overall very shy. But goes through, cycles of I really want to know things. Please tell me things.
Pretty much on point, yeah. Now, rigs are an interesting topic. I think we should probably just have a little moment to discuss. And that is going to be the very simple concept of there is no magic in Legacy. However, Clarke's third law states that any sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. As a result, in Legacy, we have rigs. Projector rigs use gravatic fields and electromagnetic fields and a million other little mechanisms to manipulate the environment. They create a bubble around them, known as a field of influence, within which they can effectively cast spells, or in this setting, run commands. These literally require energy, which goes up and down with you have reactors, which I think like half of you have reactors. Same thing. Use an attack or an ability that takes energy, it draws power out of a reactor, and your reactor replenishes at the top of your upkeep. So rig users aren't just dudes walking around and occasionally casting magic missile. They're literally levitating about with the power of their machinery, literally like warping reality. In some cases, they can, if you're using a chemistry rig, create rock out of almost nothing by aerosolizing calcium and then fusing it all together, or converting someone into acid, or just converting them into dust. If you're using radiation rigs, you can literally be Dr. Manhattan and have as much fun as you'd like with that, turning people into, Chernobyl survivors. You can use other various equipment and tools. It comes in many different fields of science, and each of those fields is basically the equivalent of a school of magic, usually tied to an elemental damage type or an effect. Bond's character is using a particle reactor rig, which particle physics rigs interact with your reactors. So one of the nice things that Bond can do, if you're nice to Becky anyway, is to increase the recharge of your reactors if you're near her. So if you all want to just dump energy into all your attacks, Bond's the character you're going to want to be friends with. She also provides little like Halo energy shields to everyone that they can move around. And yeah, the Seeker attack is pretty fun.
So that classic sound effect that goes whoa, bop, 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 whenever your shield runs out. It goes,
yeah, that's perfect. That's like literally, that is so good. All right.
That's what gave me anxiety. I blame that.
So, we have spent a fair bit of time talking on this. We're about an hour in. So, if you guys wanted to, we can take a little break.
Sure.
Bio break if anyone needs it.
Yeah, sure, boss.
Cool. All right. Well, don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to take a quick 5 to 10. We'll be right back with more of our Session 0 for Legacy. Role playing in the world of tomorrow. Welcome back, folks. Thank you all so very much for waiting. I surely do appreciate it. Omni, what's happening?
Hey, buddy. So, let's get back to it, shall we? So, we talked a little bit about our characters, how they interact, what they can do combat-wise. And now we're going to go into, I think, a little segment of... I figure this is where we can talk about just the basics of the game. I sort of alluded to them before, but we're going to start here. So... I'm going to ask everybody to very quickly make me an arbitrary roll, and it's going to suck for everybody. Let's see. Okay, good. We're all set. I just caught up with the chat
13.
going on. Yes. So I'll tell you what the roll is.
No.
So I'm going to ask everyone to make me an awareness discipline roll. And I'm going to show you guys how to interact with the sheets at this point. So I figure we can use, since Derek, you're going to, I'm assuming, open your character sheet.
It's
then,
open.
Or at least... Okay, cool. So, for everyone who's currently out there watching the stream, you can probably see the legacy character sheet right now, and you'll see that attributes and disciplines are on the opposite sides of the top part of the page. This is designed because your attributes are where you go to first, and everything else on the page comes back down to that. Awareness is tied to your intellect. So, you guys will be rolling me 2 dice each. A d6, which is going to be your luck die, unless you have a better luck die. You know if you did, you took some weird ability that lets you do it. Or your, a d6 plus your attribute die, whatever it is. So for you, Derek, it's going to be a d10, I believe, because it's
Nice.
and it's tied to awareness. Then you're going to add any modifiers you get from disciplines to whichever of the 2 die you want. Because you can use either of those 2 dice. So so I see Bon, you rolled. Okay, I have a feeling you're going to use the d10 there, Bon. Just to guess.
Okay.
So it's a 10.
So I rolled a 4
Derek,
on my
you rolled
D8 and a 2 on my D6, and I have a +1 to awareness.
Okay, so you're gonna probably want to use the higher one. So you choose
Oh, okay,
whichever
I
of the 2
get
dice
it.
you want, and then
Misunderstood.
toss the other one out.
So then I
Yep,
got a
there you
9.
go.
Make that a 5. Then.
Yep, there you go. Okay, cool. This is just so you guys can get used to the basis of rolling. This is how all attribute rolls in the game work. It's attribute plus modifier equals roll. So, and in this,
Cool.
rolling an attribute roll is roll the attribute die, roll luck die, choose whichever one of the 2 you want. So let's see. And so I would like both Paul, JJ, and I see that Bonnie already did that. So just Paul and JJ, if you roll that for me too.
Can I roll real dice?
Yes, by all means. I trust you.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
Sweet. I got an 11 then.
An 11?
Nice.
Nice.
Good lord.
Did your die explode by any chance?
It did, yes.
Nice.
Oh wait, I can re-roll it. Is that right?
Yeah, if you rolled the highest number, pick it up,
Yeah.
roll it again, and keep adding it
Nice.
on until you stop rolling the highest number.
Derek's jealous. He's seething right now.
It's gonna be really hard to
Malding.
convince you, but I rolled an 8 again.
Nice. Keep going. Keep going. So that's 16.
Jesus
I told
Christ.
you guys, exploding dice systems, this is how it happens.
That's 19,
Thank
right?
you. I appreciate it, Fen.
24.
If you rolled
I rolled
next.
27.
Nice. Yeah, no. That is a critical success. So for anyone who's curious about how
Did
critical
that
success
pass?
works in the system,
Mhm.
yeah, that absolutely would pass. And finally, JJ, what's your role? You are muted.
I said my bad. What am I rolling?
You're going to be rolling an awareness.
Homie rolled a
discipline check.
T100.
So that's going to be so awareness is tied to intellect. So you're going to take a look at what your intellect roll is. You're going to roll that die, then a d6, and choose whichever the 2 are higher.
Okay.
And then add the modifier from awareness. Thank you very much, Elder Fen, for that super awesome compliment. I designed that thing myself for a really long time. I'm still refining it, but I'm happy with how it looks right now. Sick. Okay, so you rolled a 4. Guess what? You rolled the highest number on the die. You can keep going. So keep rolling that die and adding it together. If you were rolling it on this roller, there's actually a feature in the advanced dice roller where you can see where it says exploding. You can click separate, and it'll roll that out.
Where's
So
that?
like as in, so in your dice roller, when you go to the little dice section on the left,
Yeah.
at the very bottom of the advanced dice roller, if you click that, right below the advanced roll is optional additional settings. There's exploding, none, separate, or compounded. You're going to want to go with separate.
Okay.
So as an example, if I were to roll these d4s, one of them exploded and then it rolled again, so I rolled a 5. So that one, in that instance, will be 5.
I roll 1d4.
Oh, sorry,
Yep,
I rolled
roll
a dice.
another
back,
D4.
I didn't mean to do that.
Okay, so you rolled a 3. Cool. So that means that your total roll is a 7. And how many ranks do you have in awareness?
3.
It's in your disciplines in the top right. 3. That's a 10 total.
Nice.
Yep, and that's how the system works. So, we all good on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So, combat, pretty straightforward. In this game, we're going to be looking at, again, your character sheet. Right below your attributes is your character properties. Those are all the stats that are going to govern how combat works. Your pace is how far you move. That's how many ticks on the battlefield. A tick is a little square. It is the grid space. Tick is the official measurement term of Legacy. It is a heroic measurement term, which means it is anywhere from approximately a meter to 3 meters in size, depending on circumstance. This is so that I can fudge size and not have people do things like pass the pig cannon.
Wait, we're not
Such.
using circles, triangles, and what do they use for kill team? Pentagons or something?
I think actually squares. I think it's pentagon, square, and pyramid. I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
Emma.
Also, fuck them for doing that. I'm not a fan.
That's what you should use.
So pace is is your measurement there. Your toughness and your defense are the numbers that govern when you're being hit. So when you roll to hit someone in this game, you're going to roll a discipline roll, which is tied to whatever attacking method you have. Using a traditional gun, like a handgun or something relatively simple you can pick up and learn how to shoot just by playing around without really knowing too much. I could pick up a pistol and aim and fire at somebody and probably not be that great, but at least point the barrel in the right direction. That would be ballistics. If you want to fight them in close combat, that's a combat roll. If you want to fire a gun at somebody and it's probably so complicated you need a manual or training, like say, for example, I don't know, a javelin rocket launcher, then that's the case, you're using ordnance. Derek is a hacker, and as a result, Derek can use the hacking skill to make attacks.
True.
Likewise, JJ, you're a negotiator. So that means you can use social roles to make attacks. And also for you, Paul, when you're in your mech, you would use the attributes of that mech, but your disciplines. So you basically get a really huge pool of like really badass attributes to make your normal disciplines work. You roll against the opponent's defense. If you roll equal to or above their defense, you hit them. You all probably notice that your defense is pretty low in this game. There's a lot of modifiers that apply at range. So at short range, no negative modifier. At long range, you add +5 to the defense of the person you're at medium range, +5 to the target and their defense. So in short, Derek, I'm looking at your character sheet. At close range, someone would need a 6 to hit you. At medium range, they would need an 11. And at long range, you add 10. So they would need a 16 to hit you. Cover also affects it. We'll deal with that shit as we go. But basically, everything is a slight incremental increase on hitting. You roll to hit someone with their defense, you then roll damage and subtract their toughness from your roll. Whatever's left over is how much trauma they take, and you count trauma up. You'll see right there you have your trauma rating, and then next to it is your max. It's because when you're playing this at home with paper, you're going to keep track of your actual trauma right to the left of your max. That's how injured you are. Think of it as like a burn. The more injured you get, the higher your trauma gets until you hit your max trauma rating, which is as much injury as you can stand. Anything over that, your character's unconscious, and they're fighting for their life. Anything under that, and that's just a negative modifier to all their rolls. So, having a really high maximum trauma means you don't die as quick, but it means you're going to be really fucking messed up when you do. So, just be aware of that. That's
So,
pretty
quick
much
question.
it. Yes.
So as an Oraname, when I first die, does that mean that that's like when I trauma out?
Yes. So that would be when your character that's if your character actually dies. So Oraname have a couple of neat little tricks. The first is that whole super sick regeneration thing, but they have another layer to that. They also don't bleed out. So the first time your character gets knocked above their trauma rating, unless they're instantly killed by doubling your maximum trauma rating with one attack, then your character just automatically stabilizes and goes unconscious. You're gelatin. You don't really have blood to bleed. You have cytoplasm. It's kind of like stabbing a jello mold and wondering what's going to come out. Probably not much. So you'll be relatively fine. You also don't have any major what I would call pivotal organs that you can't replace. So when you go unconscious the first time, you're fine. If someone walks up and double taps you and tries to kill you that way, that's when you would use that ability.
Okay.
A lot of you also might have abilities that specifically use motes of legacy. That's right below your trauma rating. At the start of every session, your motes reset. These are the rerolls you get. These are your hero points, whatever you might want to call them, but it's that equivalent. Some of you have a little more than that. Looking at you, Bon. So everyone starts off with a certain number of rerolls they can use every session. They reset every session. Use them. If your character is about to die, I will tell you one big use for them. You can burn all your remaining motes for the day to not die instantly, to just stabilize. So if somebody shoots you with a rocket launcher or shotgun or something, then yes, you can just go, okay, I burn all of them. All my luck for the day is expended. My character just gets blasted clear and is unconscious. Make sense?
Yep.
Sick. All right, cool. So I feel like we've talked about that enough. Do you guys have any questions? Please feel free to drill me for them now because this is the time.
Well,
I will also be introducing a demo sheet for basic combat very soon. So that will be ready for next session.
Cool.
Sick. All right. So now we've got the basics of your roles out of the way. I feel like we're going to try to do a little bit of like a relatively casual roleplay session today. Probably not going to get too hard into combat. We'll save that for next week. Unless you guys decide to push the envelope. And if that's the case, I will gladly run a brief combat fight.
I will shoot JJ's character to make sure that her ability works.
And I will stop you.
We're just going to bug check this.
Yes.
Seems to work fine.
Just trap you in shields,
Yeah.
so you just shoot yourself.
No.
We have to
Yeah.
test the mechanics.
So entertainingly also, I did want to make sure everyone in this setting knows this is one thing for everyone out there who's watching and playing this game. In Legacy, your average weapon will kill a player without armor. Putting that out there. On an average roll, one bullet will kill you. Just like in the real world, a bullet's designed to kill you. So in Legacy, you are reliant on your armor, on your technology, and on your skill to avoid death. So there's a reason why you're going to want to be at range or behind cover or something when you're being shot at. And why Red is wearing enough armor to basically qualify as a small mid-sized sedan when he's wearing his hard suit. So
The owner, the white sedan, you left your lights on.
Red's character just honks. So now that we have gotten that pretty much done, I feel like we're in a good enough place to kick things off. I know, man. It's session 0. It feels weird. So we're going to start all of you where you're individually beginning. And we're going to start off with you, Derek.
Oh,
Because
shit.
of course
That's me.
we are. We have
Okay.
to start with you.
I don't mean to interrupt, but this is a very important thing. Did we want to talk about individual player lines and veils?
Yes, let's do that before we get started because that's pivotal. Thank you, Red, for saving us.
Yeah.
So let's go round robin and talk about some lines and veils. Again, for everyone out there, this is a very important part of play, and I want to make sure we don't cross over anyone's lines. So let's go through. We'll go counterclockwise again. So Derek, we'll start with you. Bon, we'll end with you.
Pretty simple, man. I don't have a dog, but if I get a dog, don't kill my dog. That's it.
Okay.
Whatever that dog might look like, or biologically, or anything might be a little robot. Just don't kill my dog.
Okay, that's fair. So I'm going to just write this out. This will be our lines and veils sheet.
Goddard. Bork.
Description notes. These veils. Okay.
I heard pork. What was
Don't
that?
kill
was
dogs. So I'm going to specifically, for the purpose of the rules of this game, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it the drive them off rule. So for pets and for also, I'm going to extend this to most NPCs that if you have, like you've all watched Covet, and those of you who haven't, you should watch Covet. It's a really fucking good game on this channel.
Nice. Good play.
Yeah, of course. I love it, buddy. I'm
Hell
not
yeah.
still too
I'll be live tonight.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
we will.
Watch that shit.
I'm super fucking happy. If you are in a game where you might have an NPC, whether that be a friend or a pet or just like a buddy you've trained up, everyone has their pet NPC. I'm going to assume that I will not outright kill them. In combat, if they go down, it is assumed they are either knocked unconscious, or in the case of pets, almost universally, they will be driven off. Literally, the fighting's too hot. They do what pets do, which is they're smart, and they bail.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly.
They
get
get a
spooked,
heckin'
go-
spook.
Yeah,
Big
they just
heckin'
duck off the
spooky.
battlefield and they go, okay, I'm going to wait on the sidelines until this stops. Because I can't handle automatic. There's no dog in the galaxy that can handle automatic fire that you know of. So,
Till I get
it's pretty
Archaeotech
crazy, guys.
doggo.
I'm just saying, if you guys come across rockhoppers, like,
I like the idea, like the way you just describe it, like just my dog sitting on the edge of battlefield, going, "I'll wait, you guys carry on. I'll sit here. If you could feed me after, though, that'd be good. We're doing some fusses as well. That'd be grand. Take your time, though. No rush. No rush.
I also want to let you guys know that the lines and veils are going to be. Oh, why does it keep doing W? It's not W. It's not lines and whales. It's lines and whales.
Whales. Lines and whales.
I'm
I
going
freaking
to.
love whales.
Isn't
I
that a
do
country?
too.
Yes.
Valerius is a great extension. Anyway, okay, so don't kill dogs / pets / NPCs. Now, I am going to put this out there. I am going to have instances where you guys will come across circumstances, especially if you put yourselves in them, where I will make you eat crow if you've been asking for it. So if you take your favorite NPC
This is
and you keep
directed
putting
at
them on the
me.
front line, I will 100%. I will send that motherfucker off to
Mouse
speak off.
guard
Like,
memories. Start
Everyone, hide
flooding into
behind
my
the dog.
mind.
Hide behind the pooch.
Oh,
The poodle
Um,
will protect us.
poor
But I will
Thomas.
make sure to make that abundantly clear to all of you guys when you're in that kind of circumstance. And I will be gentle with it. And like I said, when it comes to specifically animals, I will never kill one on screen. And I will refrain from killing your animals unless you explicitly come out to tell me you want me to old yell or something. So is that fair with everybody?
Of course.
Sick.
Hi, Drake.
All right. Who's next?
Oh, thanks, Neris. So nice to see you.
Oh, Neris, thank you. I definitely could use that.
Is that a
And
hydration
thank you,
check?
Nom. I appreciate that.
It's a full self-care check.
Cool. I think I'm up next.
I believe you are, Red.
I don't have any real lines and veils. You can absolutely brutalize my character. If anybody has any other lines and veils, I don't want to be like, I don't have any, so blah, blah, blah. But I really don't have anything that, like, really bothers me enough to say, hey, I don't want this in my game. You can brutalize my character and I'll be totally fine with it. I mean, I'm an author. I like torturing my characters, so...
I'm a sadist. I just enjoy it. You know?
That is so
Not-
fair.
To some extent, yes. But in that regard, I would like to note I don't want anything of a that this is probably something that we all generally share. I don't want any like morally or sexually dubious things happening in that regard. I don't like sexual anything involving my characters
Yep.
in a streamed game. Or
Yep.
any game for that matter, to be quite honest. Unless it's like a romantic, like off-screen thing, like whatever. But like if it's like, yeah, no, definitely couldn't even do that on Twitch. But
That's very fair, and I agree. I obviously we're streaming this game, so you know,
it wouldn't even
Will there be
happen off
violence?
stream, to be frank. But
yeah, no, very fair. I will. If anyone does do anything romantic or sexual, we will fade to black. I don't mind characters being lovey-dovey, but once we start having creeping hands, I'm gonna pull the shades on that. We're gonna go. So you guys can go and watch HBO for the expanded version of that. But in the meantime, we don't do that here. So yeah, terms of service and no overtly sexual stuff. I'm down with that. So that said, you know, some off-color jokes might occur, but nothing too bad. I don't want
I
a terms
don't
of
care
service,
about
Derek. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And also, I don't particularly enjoy role-playing or GMing that. That's really awkward. If y'all want to have sex with
No.
a character, you're doing it with me, so please.
I mean,
I'm
fine.
flattered,
I will,
but at least buy me dinner first.
Finally, I get to live
I mean,
vicariously.
okay.
You know what? I was told I could live my fantasies on this channel. So
I don't know the fuck told you that.
Oh god. All right.
I feel
Live
like the
your
rug
fantasy.
has been pulled, and I felt lied to. Okay. I was gonna get into my mech suit. I was gonna use my claws, but fine.
Oh god, that sounds like tags I don't want to look up. So right now, so we have 3 lions, no veils so far. Don't kill dogs, pets, NPCs. I'm going to specifically say don't kill dogs. Dry them off. I'm going to put the don't kill NPCs separate as a veil and just have it like unless you really fucking ask for it.
Can I
I'll
just
ask
double
for
check
it.
that I'm getting them the right way around? Is veils like don't even mention it, and lines are like fade to black, right?
So lines are
Because I don't
content-
use that terminology, so I just want to check.
Okay, so lines and veils are a veil is a thing that you might be able to play around. You veil it, you shade it away. So it's
Right.
things you might be uncomfortable seeing or witnessing, but you don't necessarily want them to be overtly in the game. As an example, I've heard recently, war is terrible. Civilian casualties happen. That can include the innocent. You don't and so someone might be like, "I want to veil deaths of the innocent."
Okay.
So it will happen. You might have an apartment building come down and you might see the casualty report and see that there are women and children and non-combatants, but you aren't going to witness that personally.
Okay.
Whereas a line is something that we just won't even mention. It might exist in the game, but we don't need to fucking talk about it. Obviously, very frequently triggering content like sexual assault and anything on those lines are all going to be instantly lined. So we're not going to go anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Is that fair with everybody then? Does that sound like the...
course.
Am I
Oh,
not?
yeah,
I'm not
without
misusing
doubt.
those terms. Please correct me if I am.
No,
I
you're
think that's
not.
right.
That is correct.
Okay,
You're good,
perfect.
Josh.
Thank you. All right. So I believe JJ, that is you next.
I think we've pretty much covered my stuff.
Okay.
Also, think about things that would like make you like phobic. So like
Yes.
trypophobia, thalassophobia, stuff like that.
Yes.
Anything to do with eyes, stuff like that. A lot of people
This
have eye
is
things.
sci-fi, and it will get weird. So if you have any visual things you don't want to see, please tell me. I might stumble across it. Just through
To be fair, compared to the rest of us, JJ probably has a very high tolerance for those sorts of things.
I see it IRL, so for me, it's
Yeah.
like,
Like, actual
That's
job.
fair. That's fair.
Actually,
Everyone
yeah,
else, if
Omni-
you have like a truly like a very significant phobia that you don't even want described or for that matter drawn, because again, I'm drawing art for this campaign.
yeah.
Let me fucking know, because
Mhm.
I don't want to. I don't want anyone to need a barf bucket on stream and then have us end it because something happened.
Right.
So
No, I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything to add. Maybe the only thing that I would probably add that you've kind of talked about was like the whole thing about like the innocence or whatever.
okay,
Because that might fall under like violence of what we would consider like children or whatever. Because like obviously like we're gonna be talking about themes of like genocide and whatever, because that's kind of like part of what happened with all the war and everything. So I don't know what we would want to write that as like a veil or as a line. I mean, for me, it's not like a big deal, but just for the table, just for the sake of the table, I think just mentioning it is worthwhile. So I don't know if maybe we want to talk about that like as a veil, just like something that is mentioned, but perhaps not going into like a whole bunch of detail.
that's fair. Okay, so off-screen mentioned, not seen. Violence against children and the innocent. I think that's.
Can I actually? Sorry, apologies. Can I move back to lines, specifically children and babies?
Yes.
Fine.
Sure thing.
I don't want to roleplay that. No.
No,
Yeah.
that's perfectly fair, buddy. I will indicate this to all of you guys. If you don't want to explain why, don't. I don't need that. I don't need anyone to get upset about that. So I'm just going to add that immediately. Violence against children. Hard no. That shit is not happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we good with that. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
And then I think that's pretty much all that I can think of as far as myself and the table.
Okay.
So I think I'm done. The only thing that I do want to mention though is that I do want to make it. I just want to say it so we have a record of it being said. That at any point in time, if any of your lines or veils change during gameplay, that it's totally okay for us to pause, go on a break, and kind of
100%.
Yeah,
regroup.
absolutely.
Because of course,
Absolutely.
you never know what's a trigger until it happens, really,
Mm.
sometimes, and
Yeah.
that's okay. So I just want the
Yes.
table to know that if that does happen, we should probably come up with, I don't know, either a word or like a signal or something that we can throw up in like chat or something.
Pterodactyl.
How about what we do is we ask, I suggest we use a thing that is immediately obviously noticeable to everybody and that can
Yeah.
also be obscure. So how about we just ask for a bio break, and the second you're on, the second we're off stream, we go into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we'll just
that
say, I need a
sounds
bio break, and then
There's no awkwardness to it.
that's fine.
Yeah, so that way we don't have to worry about like, hey, we're just suddenly stopping. It's, oh, we need to go to the bathroom. And then if, it isn't, we need to go to the bathroom. The audience and us, we
I
don't have to worry
lied.
about it.
I lied about the bathroom break.
Right.
Mm.
Well,
Again,
no,
this
that
is
would be
why
a
we
good.
need to
I
do
mean,
this.
that would be a good time to go to the bathroom, though. Just kind of get
Oh,
out of
yeah.
the environment.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
that
And then
is
just
very
come
true.
back. So
Mm.
if,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be good to just get away from whatever.
I will say after this sequence of lines and veils, I will probably actually need a bio break. But
Yeah.
but
So,
thank you, JJ. That is very important. I will emphasize to all of you guys, I care about you all as friends personally. There's nothing in this game that's more important to me than your safety. So if any of this ever
Right.
changes, fucking let me know. Instantly. We will end
Yeah.
it if we need to. Yeah,
No
of course.
diving, boss.
All right.
And always feel free to let me know if I cross a line or like you're uncomfortable with something my character does, because otherwise I won't know.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like,
definitely.
that goes for
Please do
everybody.
that because, like you said, otherwise we won't know, and I'd rather fix that than fuck up. So
yeah,
Yeah,
and
go
let's
on.
be
Mhm.
trying to
just
fix
be nice,
it.
okay? Just be nice.
I'm
Mhm.
playing
Yeah.
a very brutal soldier, so if
Yeah.
I ever cross any lines, let me know. I try
Yeah.
not to, but sometimes I have a way of finding.
You like
things
pushing
that
people.
bother. Yeah, I
You
like
do.
pushing buttons. Not
So
to the
there-
extent where you're uncomfortable, just the extent where you're just like, I want to punch your character in the head.
So if at any point anyone just feels like, okay, things are getting a little bit uncomfortable or whatever, we'll just say, I need a bio break. We'll set the break screen, and then we'll talk about what happened and how we can avoid that situation happening in the future, just for the safety of everyone at the table.
Sounds good.
I like that.
That-
Why do I feel
that
like I'm
sounds great
running?
to me.
Let me shut up. I'm done.
Mm.
You're good. No, I
a lot of
appreciate
good
you
ones.
again. That was really fucking important, and I thank
Natalie
both
jump
Red
scare.
and JJ for bringing this shit up.
No, she's gorgeous. She's
Oh,
lovely.
hey,
Best
hello.
person.
I love you.
Hey there.
Bye.
I love you.
But this is a really important discussion, and we should definitely have it. I encourage everyone out there who's running games, all of you, please consider seriously having these discussions when you sit down. They only make the game better. And honestly, you're playing with friends and people you care about. You should do this.
Right.
I think JJ, you got all yours in, and I appreciate you also contributing a couple other ones. So right now, as it stands, I'm just going to make sure this is shared with everybody so you all can see. At the moment, we currently have Veils. Don't kill NPC unless you ask for it. Disney deaths is what I'm going to call it. Violence against the innocent, off screen, not mentioned. Lines, violence against children, hard no. Don't kill dogs, pets, NPCs, specifically dogs, drive them off. No overtly sexual stuff, duh. Terms of service,
No.
duh.
No.
Again, I don't want to do anything that's going to get us kicked off of Twitch. So, and honestly, I'm not going to lie. For those of you who are out there watching, I'm hoping to run a game that's a little more in the content level of Mass Effect. So,
Right.
You know, if you didn't see it in Mass Effect 1 through 3 / Andromeda, you're probably not going to see it in this game. I'm not here to run Saw in space.
I
That's
saw
a
nothing
different
of
game.
Andromeda.
Apologies. May I add another veil? And it's one for me. This won't be a general one.
That's fine.
Don't touch my teeth. We don't need to touch teeth.
No
Teeth are
teeth.
off limits. I think
Mhm.
fine where they are. and I think they should just stay in your mouth. And I think that's a great place for teeth to be. I know
No.
Red mentioned eyes. I'm fine with eyes. Cook them in a stew. Just please leave my teeth alone. Like, I don't know what it is, but I had this nightmare a very long time ago, and I was just walking down the street, and all my teeth fell out my mouth. And since then,
I've had a dream just like that.
they've been
That's
very
fucking
precious
awful.
to me and should definitely stay in my mouth.
That's fair. That's hella fair. No, I
Yeah.
get you. I had a similar dream when I was a kid, and for some reason, I think it's because I was sleeping with hair in my face, or I just had like a lot of sleep in my eye. But I woke up in my dream, and I thought I had like super strong cataracts on one side of my face, so I could not see out of that side. Now that I'm an adult, I realize it's probably because I was sleeping awkwardly and I couldn't turn my head in that direction. So my brain was like, "Oh, you just can't see out of that eye," and I'm like, "That's a weirdly traumatizing way of doing that." So yes, no, I got you. So that will not be done. I don't feel the need to do it. Not doing it. So I'll put that in as a veil, like not doing it. Oh, I'm just not going to do it at all because I don't want the imagery to be there. We'll keep it as a veil because there are going to be people out there with broken teeth and stuff.
Yeah,
like dentures.
yeah.
But I'm just not going to do it to you. So no dental trauma.
Yeah, like I stopped going to the dentist. It might take my teeth out.
And hey, Natalie, what's up? Okay, that's fair.
Oh.
So we've got so far don't kill NPCs as a veil unless you ask for it. We'll do Disney deaths. Violence against the innocent is off screen, not mentioned. No dental trauma, not doing it. Lines, terms of service, no overtly sexual stuff. Don't kill dogs. No violence against children. We're moving on from. Unless there's anything else you have, Paul, any phobias or anything besides the
I'm not that I'm aware of. So yeah.
Sick. Finally, we're on to you, Bon. Do you have any phobias or any things that have not been mentioned in Lines and Veils that you do not want?
Nothing that hasn't already been mentioned. That's all good.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Let's see. And I suppose I'm going to put in a veil as well. I'm going to put in a personal veil as a GM. And this is something I don't normally do, but it's important. And for some reason, oh, there we go. Finally, I was afraid it froze on me. I was like, no, please don't. You've been so good so far. So I personally am going to avoid doing it to you. I do not like super uneven dynamics of power and the implications that come from it. You guys will deal with bigger characters than you. You will deal with people who may leverage that against you. I will never make it a my bitch kind of thing. That's not what I'm ever going to do. That is a personally triggering thing for me, so we're leaving it out. I'm going to put that in Veils because I will dance around with the idea that some of you might actually owe money to people or do something which indebts you, but I'm going to avoid that sort of dynamic. I'd adopt him and give him a piggyback ride on my Mac. Lol. So, all right. I think that's pretty much it. Uneven power dynamic toxic. I'm just going to put that as not doing it. So does that look good with everybody? And for all you folks out in the audience, just be aware we will be dealing with that. That is our lines and our veils. Okay. Sick. Thank you for bringing this up, Red. I'm really glad we did this. This is really important. I feel like now's a great time to say, I need to take a bio break before we get started, and then we can get started on the actual role play.
No worries. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to take one more quick 5 to 10, and we will be right back with Legacy. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Thank you so very much for waiting. Sadly, Red had to step away for the rest of the session. Not because of anything we were talking about before we went on break, but he had to go to work. So you know how it be. Omni, what's good?
Wow. Yeah. No. Perfect. First off, I want to thank everyone, both in the chat and here, for the conversation we just had. It's really important. I encourage all of you out there who's running role-playing games in the future, have a discussion about lines and veils, what you folks are comfortable with and what you folks aren't. Trust me, it is never a bad idea. And also, again, huge thanks to Red for making it in the first place. I knew he worked today. Love you, buddy. Can't wait to have you next time. I'm sure everyone's going to miss you if combat breaks out. There'll be a bar fight in the I'll raise a bar fight elsewhere in the setting for you. So we've talked about our lines and veils. We've talked about our characters. I think it's time for us to start working on our actual game. Which we can get a little.
Yeah.
So Derek, I want to ask, how long do you feel comfortable with the rest of this running?
About 2 hours and 15 minutes from now.
Oh God, that's.
I have the Saturday
okay,
block.
cool.
The first block is always 12:30 to 4:30. If it goes a little bit over that, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll cap it off at 4:30 CST. That is plenty of time. Are you kidding me? All right, so that's good. We might actually be able to get like beginning. We'll call this session 0.5 then. Which, okay. So, and also the name of this episode will, or at least the name of the session 0, Paths. So, let's start off when you get the chance, Derek, with you. But let me know when you're ready, because I know you're fiddling with the. There we go.
I'm done.
Perfect. You're awesome. Thank you. Session 0.5. Paths. Perfect. So, let us begin. I'm going to throw on some. Yeah, that should be good. That's actually pretty good right now. Eureka's pretty good. So, Derek, you have been flying on a relatively small craft for quite some time. This craft in particular is not your normal Union-style massive carrier. In fact, most Union craft are military craft. The Acres have so many of them that they just kind of let them be used as traffic craft. But occasionally large civilian haulers will also be commissioned. In this case, you're on a commissioned cargo ship by the name of the UCC Falstaffian. The Falstaffian is an old, brutally rugged ship. These ships are designed to carry cargo containers literally slotted into their undersides, 6 at a time. Each of those are modules which contain multiple floors, about like 5-6 floors worth of storage, and are basically small space station modules in and of themselves. There's a lot of folks out there that use these things as homes away from homes. The Falstaffian, she's rugged. This particular model and make of ship is almost 250 years old, and this particular ship is one of the first off the line. The captain very frequently brags that the only thing holding her together is rust and love, and you can only really see the rust. The Falstaffian is currently filled with a number of crew going to many different sites. Probably the fewest are going where you're going. A little backwater world by the name of Barreldyne. Around you are a number of other people. About like 5 of them. 2 of them appear to be technicians. But there's also 2 others across from you sitting in a relatively surprisingly luxurious seating area for the cargo transport. They literally like locked in. Zoom tight. They literally locked in a transport module for this. So it's like, I'd say like middle class, like business class on an airplane, more or less, levels of comfort. And sitting in your little row is 3 people who just seem like they're folks colonists going back to Barreldyne. But there's also, opposite of each other, what has to be 2 Anazali. They have to be. Wearing full environmental suits, which when you're in them, you can't really see their faces. Very much like a Tron Legacy style helmet that they often wear. And they're sort of keeping to their own business. Derek, why don't you describe your character for everyone?
Absolutely. So, you can see a very tall, very thin, by the look of it, a sentient, melanistic barn owl. Intelligent, bright pink eyes, very dark feathers with only a ring of like white feathers in contrast around what would be their face. They wear very traditional garb for their homeworld. They are a bit of a keeper of their home culture, as it were, and they are very shrouded in what appear to be like ceremonial style robes with these onyx links that like festoon things together, bedecked in their civilian attire. The like hood and ornamentation upon them is not primitive. It's very angular. It's very pronounced, and it's not designed to draw attention to oneself as much as it is to obscure one's identity.
That's fair. I'm going to pull any characters we're currently engaging with to the top so everyone can see them. So, sitting there in your robes, which is, by the way, pretty close to what a lot of traditional Acris robes are. Acris are large flying falcons, and as a result, they like their clothing nice, light, airy, robes, gossamer, silks, and usually also occasionally chromatic assistance mixed in. In your instance, you're just in your civvies right now, so it's comfy. Across from you, an Anazali, one of the two of them, the closer one, you can see the glow of their eyes beneath their helmet look at you. And it's one of those it's like a ghost passing over your tombstone kind of vibe. Seeing that intelligence behind the very thick, diluted light, the light consuming glass of the helm. The eyes, from what you can tell, are a very pale blue. Almost like white. But they are bright and they shine. Almost like headlamps from behind that. And the eyes lock on you very clearly. From its helmet, you could hear a very soft, gentle voice with an interesting little accent in it. Very clearly Anazali, but you're not familiar enough with their culture to know what their different fleet accents are. So I take it you've never been to this part of the frontier before.
Long time since I've left Nirvana.
Ah. Nirvana. A human world. Intriguing. Most Acris I'm aware of don't come from human cultures. And he just sort of scoots a little closer. His chair literally moves across. And the chairs are all held in place with tensor fields. So they can slide around a fair bit. It's kind of like everything's on rails, but there's no actual rails on the ground. They can just sort of move wherever they need. So he scoots a little closer. So then, you're heading to this frontier world from a human world as an Acris. Were you adopted, or did your family just move somewhere more exotic than you're used to?
Well, your whole society gets raised and then attempted to contain. People like to move away from where they're being cordoned off. We found a place to call our own. Lived there my whole life till I started working for the Union.
Ah, Union work then. That makes sense. For a second, I thought you were a frontiers person, and then I looked at your robes, and I was a little too fancy for just an ordinary settler. I apologize. I've been rather rude. My name is Dalan. And he extends a hand, and you can see the rather unique Anazali six-fingered hand. They have 4 digits normal and 2 thumbs on opposite sides. He extends it out to you to shake it in a gesture that's alarmingly human for an Anazali.
Kushtaka is used to human based interactions. He's dealt with a lot of it throughout most of his life, being surrounded by human culture. So he understands what the gesture means and offers his hand, introducing himself.
He shakes it. I can't say I work for the Union, but I do have a stake in it. And this Barrowdine place, I'm rather intrigued by it. I hear it's full of potential.
Won't know till we get there. Seen a lot of worlds with squandered potential.
Well, I certainly hope not. I plan to invest. At least that's what I hope. If they do well enough and impress me.
I
No.
give him this kind of like, I guess knowing stare would be the correct term. Like,
I'm an adjuster.
Ah. Yes, the unfortunate nature of it. Yes, I will say, as an investor, I often come across adjusters. You don't go buying things at the top of the market. You buy them when they're low. And, well, Barrowdine, I hope, has potential. But, what's the human phrase? I'm thrifting worlds.
Need someone to take a look at it for you. I'm gonna be there anyway. I wouldn't mind spending some time earning some extra current.
If you'd be willing to pass on your data to me, I certainly wouldn't mind. I would be more than willing to reward you handsomely. Say, I don't know, for each report you make, 100 current?
You got yourself a deal.
He nods. A pleasure doing business with you. I believe we're supposed to be breaking orbit any minute now. At least last I checked. And he holds his hand up, and the bright, glowing hard light of a wrist link flares into being and projects a little screen, which is clearly aimed only on his side. You can literally, in this setting, hard light is such that you can create a one-way hologram. So he has literally the back of it is blurred out to you. But from what you can see reflected in his helmet, it's all in Anazali. It's which is entertainingly also the same language you speak. Because your language, at least in the modern era, the Anazali rewrote their entire alphabet with Akris runes when they made the Union as a gesture of good faith and appreciation for all they had done. The Akris were basically uplifted into modernity, and the Anazali, both as the ones who did it and the ones who lost their civilization prior to it, kind of fused their culture partially on the back of yours. So you can read it, and it's very clearly like a little bit you can read backwards on the helm. Something like it's, a ticker, up, down, atmospheric breakdowns. He has a pretty extensive amount of what appears to be planetary data already. So your boy does some research.
I pretend like I do not notice.
Slowly closes the wrist link. I imagine you're used to re-entry, so no need to tell you. But you two, and he turns to the left, and the two colonists who were sitting next to him, an Oraname and a synthetic who had been gleefully conversing amongst themselves the past couple of minutes. By the way, I'm just going to call this up for the audience to see. The 8 species of legacy. So, synthetic is number 3, Oraname is number 7, for those of you who are curious. The two of them look over after having been engaged in a relatively roiling discussion. You two might want to hold on a little more tightly. And I'm going to ask you to make me we'll go with a endurance roll. Specifically, I'm thinking, I'm actually just going to check your character sheet to see what you can manage. Because I what can I say? I'm not used to running this system. Go figure. I've been used to writing it. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, just make me a base endurance roll.
Opening my character sheet once more.
Yep.
And okay.
So that'd be
Not
2d6
great.
take the highest.
Oh,
Yeah.
2d6. That's good.
Yeah. Yep. Don't forget, you always have your luck die in the system. So you rolled a 4.
Right.
Okay. And I'm gonna roll on this side because I don't want it to appear in chat. Nice. And then finally, lovely. The ones sitting around you, for the most part, seem like they're pretty okay. Except the synthetic, who immediately just doubles over and just like holds his head in his hands and mumbles something about his sensors just going haywire as the Ornami just sort of like pats him on the back. And he even at one point retches in a very human-like way, and you see a shower of sparks come from his face. And the Ornami just pats him on his back. It's all right. It's just turbulence. We'll be fine. And the other Anazali on the far side of the room doesn't move a muscle, even though the whole room is now inclined from your perspective gravitationally almost 45 degrees. It's like he's been waiting for it the whole time and hasn't even moved.
Damn, that's a flex.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, we're going to switch from this descending ship over to you, Bon.
No.
And
Okay.
also you, Paul. So, Becky and Louis, you have been assigned, as usual, to do grunt work. Becky, the particular settlement we're in, or in this particular site, for those of you who are curious, on Baraldine, is known as Camp Geraldo, named for the synthetic who founded it, Geraldo 003. Geraldo's long since dead, but his dream still lives on of settling a joint camp between Orname and synthetics. So far, it's going okay. It's middling. But your
It's
job
not a
here,
problem on
Becky,
my end.
is just to keep the reactors running, regardless of how the rest of the economy is doing. And Paul, you're at the moment in the middle of moving another shipment of heavy metals from the bottom of the seabed over in Camp Heral, the neighboring Orname half of the camp, just about a quarter mile down. And you're currently arriving onto what is known as the slab, which is the landing area for the entire settlement. It's a very large, very uncomfortable looking concrete slab, literally lifted off on girders. Think of that landing platform on Endor in the end of Return of the Jedi, and you're not too wrong. Barely big enough to handle 2 landers. So you have to hike your metal butt onto a gantryway, which then winches up onto the top, put the boxes down that your mech can carry, and then turn around and go do it again. You're allowed to take breaks whenever you want, but you've been doing this all morning, and it has been bitterly cold. It is winter right now in Baraldine, and enough where in order to get into the water, occasionally the elevator has to crack ice. So, Becky has also been out here in her rig, tending to the reactors out here. They've been just a pain in the ass. They keep failing, especially number 5. Something about the turbine is off, and no matter what you do, it just refuses to function.
Can I roll an engineering?
You
To see if I can
absolutely
fix it.
can.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Paul, as you're coming up on the raised platform, you can see Becky tinkering away at a reactor. So Becky, make me an engineering roll.
I am. Decent.
And also, don't forget, I believe your character also has an engineering tool. You have the giant spanner stave, so you can add D6 to that roll as well as a
Yeah.
modifier.
Wow, that was really bad.
So that's a 9. Don't
Yeah.
forget to roll the D6 for your luck die. Is
I
it?
thought that I did that earlier.
Oh, you did. Yes. Okay, I see it. Yes.
Yeah, that's a 10. It was 1 up. I'm not gonna substitute.
That's fair. And the D6 for your spanner to add as a modifier.
Oh. Oh, I can. Okay.
Yeah, because it's literally just a flat modifier. In this game, almost everything is just a modifier onto an existing roll. So if you have a piece of equipment that's a repair tool, it literally is just you add D6. So that's 4.
13
Okay. So that's actually
total.
a lot better. That's a 13. So you've been fiddling with this thing for probably the better part of like an hour. And finally you come to the sobering realization that it definitely isn't you, and it isn't a power issue. It's a parts issue. The turbine inside is failing. It's probably because one of the coils is failing, which means the reactor inside, the reactant's hitting the interior wall and flash rusting it, which is leading to loss of power, which will eventually kill the whole thing. And if it's not done right, it'll blow it up. And Gretna reactors blow up like bombs. There's a lot of stored energy in them. And when you take those charged particles and you take them out of magnetic confinement, they don't generate electricity anymore. They prefer to conduct their energy kinetically. So think of it as like a little miniature, like seismic charge from episode 2, and you wouldn't be too far off.
All right. Can I call Louis to help me?
Well, Paul, you're currently walking onto the deck in your mech suit, I'd imagine. So I leave this up to you two how this works.
That's how you know I'm in a mech suit. I'm a crab. Hi, hello. Let me just put my box down. What can I do? How can I help? Hello.
I just need a replacement part, and she would like beep 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 in the wrist link as to the exact number, like the model number that she needs.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Right. Okay. Replacement part. I can do that. Definitely. And I look at the boxes that I've been bringing up. Like, sure, it's in one of these, maybe.
Make me an awareness roll. Make me an awareness roll, Paul. That's a lot.
Intelligence, which is D8, and then my D6 for luck, and then we add 3. Double 4s, so plus 3 is 7.
Nice. Okay, that's enough for this. I'd say you're just looking at labels. It's not like you're looking for something particularly hard. So the part that's needed is basically the interior coil of the mech, and to get that magnetic coil, yeah, it's in one of the boxes you just brought up. That's labeled for shipment out of the settlement. It is not a spare part. There might be another spare part elsewhere in the settlement, but up here on
I'm just
this
taking it.
platform, that's
I'll
the
be like,
only-
I'll reprint them a new one later.
Okay, I mean, you're the boss, so I mean, that seemed absolutely fair. Is it like a big thing that my mech can pick up, or is it like really delicate and probably
It's
should
a
be handled
pretty-
by mech?
It's a pretty big thing. This thing
Okay.
is a magnetic cycler, so it's basically a little miniature CERN, and the thing is about the same size as like a car engine.
You just
So
say it's a
it-
miniature sun.
CERN, the Charged Particle Research Center. The
Yeah,
The Large
a
Hadron
miniature
Collider.
sun. Like, I don't want to carry around a miniature sun. I
Like, no, you do
Now
it.
that said, there is a fusion
not much
reactor
better.
on site, but it's not in this part of the settlement. That's down in the water.
That's fine. That's never there.
Now that said, you both do realize, especially you, Bon, Becky, after doing just your base engineering work, this thing needs to be deconstructed now, because if you leave it for another hour, the coil might catastrophically fail, and then it will flash rust the entire interior of the reactor, and then all that energy will immediately escape. So you have maybe an hour to at least disassemble and power down.
Do I make a separate roll for that?
Yes,
Okay.
I would say this is definitely an engineering role. You will need help.
Yeah,
Again,
I was gonna
this
say,
thing
can I
is
help?
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. So, how do you two want to do it? Because this thing is,
Quickly.
I would say, about the size of like a one-story room. Like these reactors are big, so
Right. I reckon that you should just tell me what bits and bobs you want to turn and unplug, and I will unplug and turn those hopefully in the right order.
And I'll use my rig in concurrently. Would this be counted under industrial equipment?
yes, absolutely. This is under industrial equipment. That is, you are working in industrial work right the fuck now.
Okay.
So by all means, and
And sorry,
go ahead.
I can re-roll any engineering because of machinist.
Correct. You can. Super useful skill. This is where traits come in. So, Paul, what you're going to be doing then is you're going to be making me a... I figure we'll just make this an output roll using your mech. So you're going to notice on your mech sheet, it'll have its own attributes. You're going to roll that. So it's going to be output. Yep. Which is roughly equivalent to your mech's might. You're going to notice that when it comes to constructs, they each have 5 attributes just like yours. And those have a direct relation to those attributes. So
I got a 19.
Dang, that's higher than me at 13.
I get to roll I get to roll a D20. To be fair.
Yes, I believe you have a +1 to that too. Don't you?
I do. Yeah, D20 plus 1.
You're in a giant
Nice.
robot. I mean, it is what it is. You're forklifting. Yeah. So, as I said, you guys get to roll those.
All right.
So, Becky, as our friend Louis maneuvers his giant metal-like arms down to grab the casing, it's kind of like disassembling a bomb to an extent. You have to remove the outer casing, and it's this big, heavy thing that weighs about a ton, because it's designed to absorb the explosion if this reactor goes bad. It's not enough to stop it, but it's enough to hopefully turn some of it inward. So you have to remove the heavy reactor case, remove the entire upper assembly, which is like, again, the size of an engine block, like 2 to 3 stacked on top of each other, and put that aside. And then in the bottom of it, you have the coil, as far from the top as possible, cemented under as much metal and concrete as they can fit. And the whole time, while Louis is like moving piece by piece, you're using your rig and levitating there, gently maneuvering your hands and creating gestures to suppress and compress the particles in the reactor away from the systems as they're being pulled apart, pushing them into the core, compressing them, reducing the charge, until finally all that's left is the final ring. And with a very tense moment, just holding your hands and suppressing the reactor as much as you can, Louis, you just reach one of your mech's fingers out, you just click and flick a switch and the whole thing powers off.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I'd say Becky loves this. Like, this is the part that she absolutely adores, just taking things apart, putting them back together.
Louis absolutely does not love this. He's like,
Oh.
this is very fiddly. What are we doing? This is probably fine.
Well, it's okay. I'll be talking to you.
Die. Yeah.
I'll be talking to you the entire time. I'll be like, oh, have you molted lately?
No. Well, maybe right now. Yes.
Oh, I'll use those feathers in the next project.
So, I'm willing to put, because I think, as I recall, Louis, you've been here for a year, right?
6 months to a year. Yeah.
6 months, yeah. Becky's been here about the same time, so you both probably arrived even on the same transport. This isn't the first time you crossed paths.
No, we're good buddies. I pretty much do whatever she says. She's in charge. As far as I'm aware, she is the highest level of authority on the land. Which is why I'm more than happy to give her a spring just because she asked for one. Like, yeah, there you go.
I mean, yeah, I take care of my friends. They won't get in trouble.
So, after you guys disassemble this thing, put it to the side, and the reactor powers down, around you can see the lights on the platform flicker for a second, and then the reactor next to it whirs to life and takes over power instantly, and immediately they reignite bright as ever. And above you, you can see a little shiny fireball getting closer and closer. The clear and obvious sign.
Run!
The clear and obvious sign of a re-entering spaceship, a shuttlecraft, or a little big for a shuttlecraft, actually. A lander of some kind, probably a whole chunk of a ship. Which, by the way, Derek, would be you. As opposed to landing, the Falstaffian's too big. Most ships in Legacy are kilometers in length. The Falstaffian, I believe, sits at about 3/4 of a kilometer. That's pretty small. But it's still not small enough to land safely. So, it just drops the whole compartment. And as it re-enters, it uses gravity thrusters to slow itself down and prevent itself from instantly pancaking on the ground. So if you've ever ridden one of those gravity drop rides, imagine that for an entire building for like 5 minutes before they start slowing down about a kilometer above the ground.
I'd be like, great, more people. Do we really need more people?
No, they bring more mess. I don't like the mess. Why are they bringing
Exactly.
mess?
There's a
No
couple other
need.
people on the deck around you guys, and they all start looking up. And one of them, a synthetic that you're familiar with, Becky, and probably you too, Louis, a botanist who normally works in one of the research stations. Yeah, by the name of Gallant 035 runs over, and he has a very purple underglow. His frame is a little bit more smooth and organic than most synthetics. It's like he's intentionally molded his arms and his body to be like musculature, which isn't uncommon for synthetics to redesign their frames a little as they get older. They can subtly alter and tuck and redesign themselves. Not a lot, but enough to like give themselves an aesthetic. He comes running over in a lab coat, just sort of just striding towards you. Have you heard the news?
What news?
Is that cookies?
He makes this gesture with his face, and synthetics don't have a mouth per se that you can see. They have a very flat metallic face, again, like we can see in the plating there, in the image on number 3. They have a flat metallic face with a brow plate that comes down almost like a beak, like a barn owl, and 2 metal slats on the sides that can move. And somewhere in there, the whole thing has a jaw that can hinge up and eat, but it's very hard to see it. Despite that, he can manage to somehow perfectly create a very cringed kind of face with the one-to-one human is comparable. Unfortunately not. So can you two keep a secret?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
I'm glad to be honest, and I realize Becky's saying yes. Like, oh, I should say yes too. Okay, yes.
So I haven't heard a lot of details, but the union's sending representatives. And there's some talk about
Survey us.
possibly. I know they're from the Frontier Corporation, so I'm hoping they're here to approve our expansion. But I've also heard some bad things about, the colony's ability to progress.
Yeah, our supply chains are already strained.
It's not just that. So, I've been working with the botany crew for a while, and our job is to filter the soil and get the perchlorate salts out of it, which, synthetics don't mind, gestures to himself. But as
We
I
don't
understand
have to
it,
eat. In which case, I also want to thank you for that. That's a lot of work.
it's my job, and I like seeing gardens grow. Unfortunately, removing the perchlorate salts from the soil has been easy, but the aquaponics side of things has been getting bad. Really bad. They still can't get the cobalt out of the water. And as I understand, the perchlorate salts in the ocean just settled to the bottom. They're trying to filter it, but it's one thing to rake dirt and get the top level of soil off. Even with and he gestures up in the sky, and you can see, like, above the flaming incoming ship is the distant silhouette of what almost looks like a giant U-ring with a little dot in the middle. And that would be the planetary forge, this giant orbital refinery and factory your colony relies on to flash produce equipment and shoot it at the planet in boxes. Very much Titanfall-esque. Even with that, refining an ocean takes decades. And we have a timeline of maybe a couple more months before we need to have serious progress on that.
Then it's time to hit the drawing board. Let's create something that'll do it for us.
I hope you have a big drawing board, because I don't know what can filter an entire planet's ocean in a couple of hours. But if we can make it happen, that'd be great. I'm just worried. I'm hoping that the Frontier Corp just decides that we're worth investing in, that they put the extra money in, that they allow us to do it.
They're going to have to. We'll just trap them here until they do.
I'm not holding them hostage. That's up to you all if you want to do that. And he slowly walks backwards, hands held. And don't tell anyone I told you that. That wasn't me. That was someone else.
I do appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you two. Have a good day, okay?
Yeah, I'll see you later in the cafeteria.
So
He
was that
waves and-
good news or bad news? That was a lot of words. That was good. That was bad. Bad.
I think it's good. We're just gonna show
Good.
off a bit. Yeah.
Okay, right. I can lift a lot of boxes on it. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. And do I make a separate roll for Child of Tomorrow for like a specific situation that could apply there?
So Child of Tomorrow is something you have to do at the beginning of the session.
No, I meant like
Oh.
because it's a trait that she has. How would I roll in regards to what she could glean from that cache,
Oh.
if anything?
I think you can. Let's see. Oh God, hold on a second. This thing's being a pain in the butt. Let's see. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. Give me a second. I would say no. There's no real separate role from that. I don't think you could make it. You could make a general intellect roll if you want.
Okay.
I would say research for that because that seems like the kind of thing you need to dig into a little more. But
So it would just be a standard D10 because I don't have any.
correct, yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, I'm substituting that 10.
All right.
Yeah.
So, how many of those did you get at the beginning?
2.
Okay. So, for anyone out there who's wondering, what the hell are they talking about? Bond's character has a really cool, unique, human-specific power, which is one of the traits they can take known as Child of Tomorrow. At the beginning of their session, they roll an intellect roll, and then they roll a d4. They get that many times, they can replace any roll during the game with the result of that intellect roll at the very beginning. So they basically have more roll control, as it were, which is really useful. So, okay. You know for a fact, Becky, that this isn't the first time Barreldyne has been settled. It's just the most recent. It is not impossible that it won't be the last. So 50-50 on it. Gallant's hope isn't unreasonable, but it's also a hope. And usually the Frontier Corporation doesn't send folks out to converse about positives.
Well, yeah, but I was just gonna. I mean, I feel like Becky would see this positively because you already have so many specialists here. It would be stupid of them to immediately pull them out.
You'd think that, but they've been working here for over a decade now. So, and there is a return on time. There's a return on investment that the Frontier Corporation does expect eventually. So, you're not wrong. But also, be aware, not everyone thinks like Becky does. Speaking of people who don't think like Becky does, we're gonna move from you over to JJ specifically. What do you think Amaya is doing at the moment?
Amaya is probably on her way or on their way to go meet up with I guess whoever her supervisor is, whoever she's supposed to be working underneath, to figure out what they're supposed to do for their new assignment. I would say that I'm probably a fresh arrival. I would say I probably have only been here for probably a couple days or so.
Okay. Well, so Maya, having been on the last shuttle, I'd say we'll say it's about like a month ago, just because it's the Frontier. They don't have constant like planes coming in and out.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
about a month ago, you've been given opportunity to settle down, get to know the lay of the land, and this is your first time probably on the surface. You've been largely underwater in Camp Haral, which is pretty much an underwater geodesic city at this point. Big enough to hold about 200 people. So for a settled world, or like for a frontier world like this, that is practically New York. Like, that's a lot of people in one place. The camp on the surface, Camp Geraldo, has about an equal number of people up there. So this is your first real summit to go up top. Going up top, you're about to go meet with Arctos. Arctos03 is the supervisor of Camp Geraldo and the successor after its founder. He is known for being chilly. He is known for being direct. He does not pull punches when it comes to engaging in conversation. So, as you're walking, your boss is next to you. That would be Yale. Yale has many redeeming qualities. Patience is not one of them. And it is abundantly clear from the little time you have spent here that these two are a very poorly matched team. And it takes something fierce to keep them from killing each other most days. Yale, walking next to you, is a very squat, hearty Oraname. They are thick, and I say thick with 2 C's. Specifically, Yale is a deep sea Oraname, one of the kind that tends to hang out way far at the bottom of the ocean. Whereas, on the other hand, I really wish this would work. There we go. Right in Arctos. There we go. Whereas Arctos, on the other hand, seems to hate being in the water. So the two of them really can't stand each other. So Yale, long tendrils sort of just like flowing with every step as he sort of with his pudgy body gelatinously advances next to you, turns to you with his 4 glowing cyan eyes and just says, "I'm not ready for this. I cannot stand this man. Why do I have to see him every week? Are you sure you couldn't have gotten me a better meeting time?"
I'm sure. This seems to be the only time that really works for both of you to meet at.
And he just sort of grumbles and belches a little bit of seawater out of the vents in his neck. Oraname have a series of almost gill-like structures that go all along their long, noodly, mushroom-like neck that's also end in a series of vents at their waist. Underwater, they use it for jet propulsion, breathing, and eating. Out here, it's mostly for speaking and spitting occasionally. In this case, in protest. He's a stuffy piece of crap, and I can't stand having to work with him. Of all the people on this entire planet to put in charge of the joint settlement, they choose the one that's aquaphobic. Figures. Ugh, fine. You go in, tell him I'm here, and I'll meet him outside. I don't want to go into his office. I can't. Ugh. Sterile, dry, cold-ass room. And he just sort of slouches to the side of a large hab building. These habs are all pre-constructed, made in layers, designed to be bolted together rapidly. And so this particular one is the biggest one. It's 4 stories tall, 1 hab on the other. And this is the administrative core of Camp Geraldo. To get here, you had to literally climb up a hill, curve around on the other side of the hill again. The whole thing is built almost like a step, like a zigzagging step. It's about halfway up. So you're about I want to say 50, 60 feet above sea level from here. You can very clearly see. The ocean is still lapping at the beach. And the building you're about to enter looks as sterile and unwelcoming as humanly possible compared to that lovely looking ocean behind you. The door is open if you wish to go in.
Yes, I will tell Yale that, okay, I will go get him and get him to come out and meet you here.
All right, good luck. And he just sort of leans against the wall outside, takes out a canister from underneath his belt, which is filled with what looks like an orange liquid. And he just takes the whole thing and pops it into one of his gills. Sort of hovers inside of the cytoplasm of his neck. And you can see he's just slurping it like a juice box, waiting. Inside the building, as you come through, the doors slide open, automated, obviously. And the interior is busy. There are many humans, a large number of synthetics, and even a couple of, from what you can see, click moving about here and there. The large millipedal people sort of doing their jobs, moving objects from one table to another, speaking in the high-pitched voices they have from their extremely light atmosphere. One of the synthetics at the front desk, in yellow, or at least in a nice yellow robe with glowing accent yellow lights from their face, sort of waves, "Hi, how can I help you?"
Hello, my name is Amaya Anahita. I have an appointment today with a Arctos.
Oh, you're the one with Yale. Gotcha. And she reaches over and taps on her wrist link, and you can see just a little screen pops up. This one is not backed. This one is visible on both sides. And you can see Arctos's blue, cold gaze appear on the other side. "Yes, what can I do for you?" Yeah, you have a visitor. I believe it's your midday appointment." "Oh, the squid. Right. Send them in."
Kick his butt.
It's the offensive for me.
So she looks over to you. You can go ahead into his office whenever you're ready. So you go down the hallway, and a set of doors opens, and inside it is cold as balls. It is cold outside already. This dude has not... There's no climate control in this room. He seems to like it hovering in a casual 60 degrees Fahrenheit in his room. The only reason it's not 50 or 40 is because of the fact that this is a structural seal, and this is just the heat that's been slowly leaching out of the room. It's not like he can open a window. But even then, it's still bitterly cold in here. Like, you can see some humidity over the door when it opens up and just sort of sloshes onto the ground. "Come in." "So, you're the new liaison, I take it?"
Yes, sir, that's me.
He nods and slowly stands up. "Arctos 03. Pleasure. I've heard your skills come highly recommended. Hopefully, we can put them to good use here. Yale and I aren't particularly on good terms." Is he coming in or not?
Actually, he was wondering if you wouldn't mind today coming outside.
Stop being a hermit.
His optics roll so visibly, you can practically hear the sound. Crybaby. All right, fine. I'll come out. Let's see what the gelatin bag has to say now. Then he stands up, and as he does, you can see a number of files and documents on his table. If you want to make an awareness roll, you can attempt to read them at a glance.
Yes, I would
Be snooping.
absolutely be snooping. So
Also,
that is-
do you have any disciplines that might apply? Because it should be your intellect, which is tied to your awareness. So intellect plus awareness plus any other proficiencies you might argue for me.
I have proficiencies. I have espionage,
Oh,
public investigation. I don't know if this would count as espionage.
I would say peering at someone's desk when they're, when they're moving away for an attempt to like furtively gain information. I'd say that's
Watch it be poetry.
Super spy.
I think you could also add public investigation to this as well, because like it's this is a reasonable way to get data. It's not like you're having to hunt down a million leads, but you are in someone's office and there is unattended papers on the table. They're not
Right.
classified or anything, so yeah, this would qualify. So you can add both. 2 and a 4, but the 4 explodes. Why is that Oh no, it's a D6, not a D4 for your wild die.
Oh, my bad.
It's all right. You're good.
Oh, it's a 6 though.
It explodes though, so keep going.
It's an explosion. Okay. 5.
So you have 6 plus 5 is 11. Plus, what's your modifier for awareness?
Is a 3, and then espionage is a 1. So
Jesus, so that's a cool 15 right there. That's really solid. Yeah, I'd say that's critical success for sure. So you peer at the screen at this little like tablet that he has on his desk, and as you look at it, you see something a little strange about it. It's not just that the document itself it has some pretty negative news on it, just at a glance. Camp 4 is dying. Like, in fact, to call it dying would probably be an insult. It's dead. That'd be overly optimistic. Camp 4 has, like the rest of Barreldyne, been trying to terraform for a while. But the planet suffers from heavy metal poisoning. And that's a difficult thing to remove. At the best of times. Barreldyne was already settled once, and its original settlers couldn't manage the process. It was not widespread enough, technology was not quite available enough, but they tried again now that it's available. However, looking at the notes, the timeline they gave the planet, way too optimistic. They were hoping they could turn around this planet in a decade. This probably needs 2. And you're only a decade in. So already, you can see just glancing at it, just looking at his various conversations with his higher-ups in the Frontier Corporation, that Arctos is constantly arguing with his supervisors. Desperately trying to get them to give them more time. And they are reticent about it. On top of that, there's another thing that's labeled that's on the table, and it's labeled as Request Voyagers. And on it, you can see what appears to be a map, which leads into caverns in a nearby mountain. You don't know what it leads to, but it's very clear leading into there. And it appears to be labeled as and it appears to be labeled something along the lines of eyes only, do not mention to general populace, secure site. In short, not only are they not able to properly clean this area fast enough, and not just on this camp, but across the whole damn planet, but Arctos has apparently stumbled across something. And whatever it is, it's holding up the process even further. And it's something he doesn't think he can handle himself. So, all that you catch at a glance immediately. You even see talk briefly of adjusters, which is not good. Your roll was high enough for me to tell you what an adjuster is. The Frontier Corporation assesses... Caw! It's like someone walked over my grave. So, the Frontier Corporation has many thousands of worlds that it terraforms every single year. And as a result, its resources are spread wide. To make sure its resources aren't wasted, the Frontier Corporation deploys adjusters to worlds that are struggling. Their job is to decide if the world is worth investing in, or if it should be reassessed and restaffed. At which point, they remove the entirety of the staff of the planet, put every colonist back in cryo, and send them to another world, or wait until they're available for the next one to come along. And they send new folks out, assuming they even terraform the planet at all. It is entirely possible a world is deemed too unworkable, and they just let it go. Let it go fallow, pull everyone off, and just say, fuck it, it's a lost cause. And put the whole planet for auction to the highest bidder. And Barreldyne looks like they have an adjuster coming. So, all that at a glance, you rolled pretty fucking high. So, Arctos stands up and walks to the front of the building, not even looking at you because he didn't realize what you just saw. and goes outside, and you can hear immediately loud voices. What are you doing, JJ?
Shipping them, obviously.
Obviously. I will go out to the source of the noise, the loud voices.
Very fair. So, well, let's get some Hydra going here. All right. So, as you go outside, you can see Yulei and Arctos are in the middle of a tense discussion. They're not fully raised voices, but it's enough where like it was audible down the hallway, like the tension in their voices. Now you're closer, you can hear very clearly that what they're talking about is how to proceed forward. And Yulei is just very quietly just going, we're trying our best, we're accelerating every process we have, we can't filter the ocean fast enough. There's no equipment we can order. We could literally have the planetary forge siphon up the ocean and filter it manually, and it still won't be enough. And next to him, Arctos is just, your job is to handle the seas. We can't trawl every inch of this planet for you. I don't know what you expect us to do, but if you want this settlement to succeed, you have to at least match our progress on land. They're willing to overlook a little dirt being poisoned, but the whole ocean is toxic. No one's going to settle here. Ever. And Yulei just kind of gives him this glare like, are you questioning whether or not I'm serious about my job? I'm questioning whether you're capable of it, squid. Figure it out. One of the two. And he just sort of looks up at him and just goes, you're a particularly mouthy tin can, you cantankerous piece of shit. Been trying my best this whole time. Maybe if you would share some more of your resources down there. Oh, don't give me that. You already know your budget is based off what you feed us to sell, and you haven't been getting us enough metal, so we can't give you more money. You're the one holding the purse strings. Figure it out, jelly. And he gives him a little poke and just sort of, like literally like wiggles a little bit. And he looks up at him just kind of like, glow bug, and pushes him back, and Arctos just sort of like rocks back. Two of them sort of glare at each other.
Quick, JJ, be the
I
mommy.
know. I was going to interject.
By all means, anytime. Please feel free to interrupt. They'll keep going at this forever.
As they're pushing each other. I'm going to be
Shut
like,
up. Fight.
right,
Fight.
like, fight.
Scientists beat each other up. Awkward
Right.
slapping ensues.
I'll be like, if I may.
They both slowly turn to look at you. Gazes icy. Yulei just nods. Go ahead.
Well, I think that despite all of our differences, we do have one thing in common, and that is that we all need this experiment, if you will, to work. That goes for both of you. So I think, for the sake of a common goal, we could perhaps spend less time insulting our differences and perhaps more time trying to figure out what is a solution to this problem. We all know the ocean is toxic, and that's a big deal as far as whether this experiment works or not. So, I think we need to focus on how do we change that. Especially before they send out any adjusters to this world.
They both look at you and look at each other. Make me a negotiation roll. And because you have the Doctrine of Discord on your second page, you might notice you gain a plus D6 to all your negotiation rolls or social rolls that are made.
Yay! Okay, so
Works for being
negotiation
a negotiator.
is
Yep.
will.
Yep.
That's a D6.
Yep. and then you add whatever your modifier is, which is, I believe, you have a +3 to that.
Yep.
Not insubstantial at all. And then you would roll a d6 and add that to the result.
So that was a 2.
So that's 2 plus 3 is 5.
3
And
is
then
5.
whatever your roll is for your bonus for being a negotiator, your d6.
So then another d6 is what I roll?
Yep. Basically, it's like carrying a weapon that you use only for speaking. Oh, nice. Cool.
So it's
That's
a
4.
9 total.
Yeah. I'm going to roll for these two dorks. So, a fun little advantage that players have over non-player characters and central characters, which is what I call characters that are important, named characters that are not player characters in this system. Player characters have access to luck dice. NPCs and central characters usually don't. So, they just get a base 1 die roll.
Yeah, fuck them.
You actually beat them. The highest roll amongst them was an 8. So,
Nice.
after a few moments, they sort of just look at each other and then look at you. And Arctos speaks first. You're right. We're just stressed. And unfortunately, the adjuster's already here. They're probably on that. And Arctos points up, and you can see that at this point, that burning fireball in the sky, it's actually just a big box, and it's slowly settling down on retro jets on the main platform. And you can see that Yele just sort of like looks up at Arctos and looks over. You didn't tell me they were coming now. They were coming today. There's only one ship coming in today. I shouldn't need to spell that out for you. Besides, what are we going to do? How can we deliver the news any better than we already could? There's no meeting we could have had to say, hey, the water and soil is poisoned, but maybe I can spin it a little bit for you and get you a soft serve while you hear about the imminent doom of our planet.
Well, why don't we try to give them some hope? Or we can say perhaps that we've found something, perhaps in a nearby area or somewhat nearby area.
Arctos is glaring at you right now. Like before, he was like, oh, this is a strangely insightful Rename. And now he's like, you motherfucker, you read my notes. Like,
Look, nobody could have kept their mouth shut. The fact that Gallant came to us, like, hello, he has
yeah,
a
no,
problem.
absolutely. The part about the something nearby is what
Yes,
gets his
an
eyes to
entrance
lock on you.
Yes.
Like,
And I'm
it's like
gonna-
an auto turret locking onto someone in a game. Immediately just goes like,
Yes.
like click. You can
And
practically
I'm-
hear the click of them hitting the side of the eye wall.
And I'm gonna look directly back at him in his eyes and continue talking and saying something nearby that perhaps may be a solution to our problem. That may convince the adjusters to give us a little bit more time to figure out this
Arctos
issue.
slowly raises a hand up. And for the synthetics, their hands aren't like ours. It's a ring, and they have individual fingers rotating around it on a gimbal, so they can change the shape of their hand at speed. And so
So
the
cool.
hand rotates around, 4 of the fingers come down, just one finger stays up, just brings it over his mouth. And he leans in. And Arctos is average height for a human in this setting. For most synthetics, he's about 6. So 6 foot. And he just sort of
Okay,
leans
so he's-
over.
So he's only a little bit taller. Okay.
Yeah, no. Humans, for the most part in this setting, are between 4'5" and 6'5", like somewhere in that ballpark, and it averages out usually towards upper 5 foot, lower 6 foot.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
5'6", so that's perfect for me. But
Yeah. So he leans down a little bit and just lowers his finger. I'm gonna pretend I don't know how you know about that. I don't want you to tell anyone. Here, that's fine. You're an aide. You would have found out about it eventually. But if I hear anyone in the camp knows about that,
Wink.
like Arctos turns to Yele. That's confidential. And Yulei just nods. Agreed. We don't speak about that out loud. Maybe we need to the Adjuster, but not to the Sutlers. Is that understood?
Crystal clear.
They nod. All right. Fine. Let's go and powwow out ourselves a speech. And Yulei starts walking away, and Arctos turns to look at you and says, thank you. He leans a little closer. It's nice to have a moderating force. And he just makes hand gestures like he can't even begin to describe how much he fucking hates this guy.
Yeah, I'll just give him an understanding nod, just a
Just a middle finger.
Please
like,
feel
yeah,
free to
that
take
guy.
it.
He
Go
called me a
ahead.
squid.
Cool. But that's not much better. A break. The commissary's right around the corner. We'll call you when the meeting starts. And he sort of walks off and leaves you standing in the middle of this settlement you have not been in before. This is your first time here. Speaking of, we're going to scoot over from you all the way back to Derek.
Oh shit, it me.
Ah, to
Oh,
quote the
heckin'.
crew, my turn. So, the ship, or at least the landing part of this block, is finally settled down. And it is no longer constantly oscillating. As a result, you feel a little better. Like, you were okay before, but, like, you feel even better than you did before on the ship. You didn't realize you were, like, slightly being affected by what might have been, like, motion sickness, which, you know, I think that's fair. Like, pulling for a moment, like, 7 to 10 Gs, that can fuck with your stomach pretty well, especially when it's coming up, not down. And as the rest of the people who are on this lander get off, all like 6 of them that are going to get off here, you can feel the engines thrumming behind you as the ship slowly begins to vibrate up. And it doesn't take off on a plume of fire, create a shockwave as it leaves. No, instead, the vibrating sound you're hearing is the sound of gravatic motors reversing gravity's effect on the thing and negatively pulling it upwards without seemingly any visible thrust. As it slowly floats upward like a helium balloon, the sounds of engines within it purring as it yeets it up into the sky. And this is, at this point, also the first time that I'm going to assume that Becky and Lewis see you. Both the two of you are probably still on deck. This is within, like, I imagine 15 minutes of our last scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you two have been doing, but I assume it has been, I assume it's been a couple of minutes. So, did you catch that one? Okay, good. You're good. I know, you're doing your thing. So, Derek, it's cold as balls outside, and it's very bright, just so you know.
I have spectacles on that are more like goggles. That it's the future, so they just kind of like magnetically cinch to my. They're completely covering my eyes.
Head.
Just these like tiny little like pink lights that they're affected. It's like the opposite of night vision goggles. It's day vision goggles for people that have primarily nocturnal vision. Because this is the future.
That's cool.
What's the name of that? Pitch Black with Vin Diesel, basically.
Yeah, it's like Riddick's.
Yeah, Riddick's
yeah,
glasses. Yeah,
basically.
that's fair. Fair, perfect. Yeah, no, the glasses keep the brightness relatively at a reasonably manageable timber. Like, you can see even without them, but it's kind of like being out on a bright sunny day without sunglasses. So, yeah, no, it helps a lot. So,
I gather
Becky-
my stuff.
oh, okay.
I didn't know if you were waiting on me or not. I was just going to tell you
No,
that
by
I
all
was
means,
gathering
go
my stuff
ahead.
and getting off the craft, making my way. Probably trying to find some transportation.
Roger that. Oh man, they are just flying in there. Hang on, let's see.
Oh,
I got you.
oh,
yeah, I
good
know,
job.
right? Hey man, you're running the stream. The least I can do.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Try again, bots. Come on, let's go. I got a big mod sword. I'm already starting to chat. So then, if they want to increase the viewer feed, they can feel free. So, your stuff, I imagine everything you have is probably in like a very simple black plastic case. It's probably gravity assisted, so it's easier to carry. You can fit a lot in these sort of cases. Gravatic motor technology is so ubiquitous, it's everywhere. In fact, the Acres have been using it to fly on worlds that they normally wouldn't be able to for literally millennia at this point. So, at this point, you can get a gravity motor powerful enough to support a full human, and their weight about as big as you would get like a pog. And you can literally just weave those into clothing. So, for the Icarus, for you, yours are most likely surgically implanted along the interior of your wing. Something not unlike getting piercings, but it's very easy, and they're buried underneath your. They're buried way underneath your feathers, so they're hard to spot. They don't even hurt. They're just you don't even notice them anymore. You got them probably when you were just becoming a mature adult. So,
Sorry, what was making noise?
Oh, it's all right, buddy. That's right. I'm just thinking about the gear you have. Your case is very long.
Yeah, it's probably multiple cases, right? I probably have like one that's like on the bottom, that's like the biggest case with all the goodies like broken down into their constituent pieces. The next one is like my clothes and like other stuff that you would need for long-term stay on faraway places, and then the last bag is like my personal effects, and I imagine it's like just this rod that sticks out of the bottom one that has the gravitic unit stuck in it. It's easy for me to just like move around. Probably just like everybody uses that at like spaceports and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like these things are designed so they have what are called gravity anchors. So you have a gravity anchor and a gravity drive. Gravity drives produce thrust and allow you to move in any direction you want. A gravity anchor doesn't produce directional thrust. Instead, it just negates the effect of gravity. So effectively, using this thing, it's not enough to like make it completely weightless, because that'd be fucking terrible and not a very useful thing at all. That's a great way to lose your fucking luxury like goods by them floating away by gently touching them. But it's enough to reduce the gravity so that they have about as much vertical lift as a very like a 3-day-old helium balloon. Like you can just like gently tap it and just floats up a little, then comes back down again.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can more or less move them with your finger with relative ease. Even though they're probably like, I'd be willing to say probably like 100 pounds worth of gear with you.
But yeah, I'm probably like standing by the relative like probably not like street corner, but you know, whatever thoroughfare there might be, pulling up my wrist link, trying to get everything synchronized to the local planet, and then eventually try to find an Uber.
That's fair. I can tell you very quickly that for a second, your wrist link like fuzzes, and it's clearly getting calibrated to the local planetary prism. The prism is the galactic internet in Legacy. It is a vast, quantumly entangled network of data and computers that is accessible anywhere, just about. The only way to prevent you from getting access is to actively scramble access. Because quantum entanglement doesn't care where you are in the universe. As long as you're attached to that particle, you can get whatever data you need. It takes a couple seconds.
I would like, and this is just standard operating procedure for Kushataka, I would like to do just a little pen test real quick. See what their local infrastructure is like.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So, all right. Let's talk about how you make your hacking attacks, because this is one of the more fun parts of the game for sure.
Yes.
So, on the second page of your character sheet, if you want to pull it up and show that to everybody, on the back half of that page is where your hacking rules are. On page number 2 at the very bottom. I have gone out of my way to comprise all the rules I can into a simple breakdown. So you have a joust hacking module, as I recall.
Yes.
And so the way that this works is pretty simple. This is just like shooting a weapon. Only in this case, you gain a bonus to that roll equal to whatever your firmware bonus is. The firmware bonus is D8. If you use intrusion software, which, by the way, I've highlighted all the programs that you use that are intrusion in green.
Looks
We only
great.
have one right now. You're welcome.
Mhm.
I love you, buddy.
Love you.
You increase that to a D10. So everything else, it's a D8. So you'd roll your hacking roll, which would be tied to your intellect. So your intellect die plus your hacking roll. And then you would roll separately your firmware bonus as just a flat bonus onto that roll. That can also explode. It is a weapon die, effectively. So hacker
Okay.
hands.
So that's going to be a D10 for my intellect, a D10 for the software, and then the third thing that I'm missing is what? I also am missing my luck die on that one, which would be a D6.
Correct. So yeah, you can roll them each one at a time and just tell me which one is which, and we'll go with
But
it.
there was 3 things. What was the third thing that I'm forgetting about there?
So you need to choose what your program is you're using.
Oh, I'm going to
Unless
be using
you
Geist.
wanna- Okay, you're going to use Geist? All right, interesting. Okay, then. That works. So, you're going to... we'll describe what happens. Before you even make your roll, you need to choose a target for your Geist. I know exactly what that target's going to be.
Cool.
Derek, what's your favorite method of conveyance? Do you want hovercraft? Do you want walkers? Or do you want an ATV?
Trying to stay beneath the radar, so probably something civilian like a hovercraft.
All 3 of them are.
Okay.
On most frontier worlds, they don't have the option, and in fact, on most worlds in Legacy, generally speaking, personal vehicle owning is largely pointless. You have large public conveyances to deliver people back and forth, and oftentimes, if you don't, you just use what would be basically a localized ride-sharing program that's designed to use things out of what is basically a garage that come and drive to you when you need them and then drive away and charge when they're not needed. Small frontier worlds like this, where you only have a couple hundred people in a settlement, that's more than enough. So, all 3 of these are available to you.
Oh shit.
Gadwall is a personal hover bike. The Rockhopper is a personal walker, and the Bounder is a personal ATV. All 3 of them are designed to function in different environments, but they all work pretty well.
Yeah, I
And
definitely
they're
know what
all
I want.
highly common.
Yeah, I definitely know what I want. I would definitely like to get myself a Gadwall for while I'm here.
Hell yeah. All right. So, your wrist link fuzzes for a moment, and then it click, and then just as a little chime of din din din, welcome to Barreldyne, and it plays a little. It immediately shows like a little like video someone probably made in some corporate office somewhere about like Barreldyne is a joint frontier world, and there's like a little skip button that immediately appears. I assume your character's just like fuck it.
Yep.
And just instantly skips it, and immediately it goes to ride sharing. And it's which conveyance would you like? And you just see Gadwall, Rockhopper, ATV. You click on it, and Gadwall on the way to your position. And nearby, you can see what appears to be a garage. Slowly rolls up, and out of it, you see this little hovering bike come gliding on its own, racing towards the landing platform. Self-piloting, from what you can tell. In fairness, again, small settlement, not many people. All it needs to do is detect some obstacles. It's not going to deal with traffic. So it hovers over in front of you, and at this point is when you'd be making the hacking roll when it comes into your range.
31.
Because of the way this works now, I roll an opposed processor roll or intellect roll, depending on who it is or what it is.
Processor, that was the thing that I was leaving out. Got it.
Yes, you don't roll processor, that's for your opponent. You're good.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
I roll this, and this is not a particularly expensive or powerful vehicle, so it only has a D6.
Does it explode?
No, it's
5 times at least.
yes. So when it comes to hacking, the base rules of hacking, the way that it works without your gauntlet, without having a hacking module, you need to be in base-to-base with something so you can literally get your hands on its computer processor or your hands in its guts and literally like work on the thing electronically till you reprogram it manually. Your wrist link, or specifically your hacking module, lets you do that through infrared, sonar, Ethernet connection, or in some cases just like Wi-Fi signal. So you were able to Wi-Fi seize this thing. And this thing is a public conveyance, not really designed to not be hacked because you're in a frontier world and there's like 200 people in this settlement and no one wants to jack someone else's ride when they could just call it casually. So it's like almost no security at all on this thing. Like just base factory floor security, which you blast through. And because of how much you blast through it, you literally can do whatever you want with this thing.
Beautiful.
The higher your roll, the more insane it gets.
So I would like to disable any trackers that would be on it from whatever previous ownership it had. I'm going to rewrite its like what's the word? Limiters to where it does not have any limitations on how fast it can go. Basically, I'm getting myself the optimal means of conveyance so that I can be wherever, whenever, and none of these people that I know are going to try to hide stuff from me are going to be able to do so because I'm too fast, too stealthy.
I mean, I feel like you just announced your presence by calling it there.
I love for me the image of your character being like, I need speed and stealth. And as you were doing that, I literally just saw your character wearing big cartoonish red and white shoes with buckles on them. Like, gotta go fast. Yeah, no. You this Gadwall immediately, like normally in order to control one of these things, you can just get on it and actually ride it like a bike, or you can literally just tell it where to go and you just ride it comfortably. And your wrist link software handles that. For a second, it shows the interface normally, and then it fuzzes out, and the interface is completely replaced with a very simple programming language. It's just constantly, you can see the actual code rewriting itself as your Geist program slides through it. And to your ordinary person, it would just look like a bunch of zeros and ones and programming language streaming across the screen. But for you, you can see the operating system of the bike slowly being consumed by your own, gently rewriting it until there's almost nothing left of the base operating system. And by the time you're done, the Gadwall doesn't even have its normal traditional chirper, "Where would you like to go, sir?" Instead, it just simply chimes, "Directive, question, dash, 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 dash," and you basically own it now. Immediately, like, you can see its trackers all disabled. Its safety limiters off. Which, by the way, its safety limiters off, this thing could easily kick 200 kilometers per hour. And it should be able to get well up to nearly half a kilometer in height. Big trick is,
Just
at
do that
height,
and everyone's
at those speeds, you need to make good rolls, or it will throw you. Granted, you're a bird, so if you fall off a thing at a kilometer
I'll just
up,
fly away.
yeah.
And then
For
I'll trigger
anyone else, it
Molotov
would
on
be
it for whatever it runs
suicide.
into.
Yeah. For anything else, it would be suicide. For you, flying really high and fast is actually fine. And this thing just lets you know what its limits are and completely subordinates its drive impeller to you.
I am
Becky,
happy.
Becky and Lewis, are you two? I'm assuming you two are nearby, probably hanging out underneath the pad, like by a warming coil, because they have like warming, like heating coils. If you've ever been at somewhere up north, Bon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The little stands that look like lamps, but they're really just torches designed to create bubbles of heat because it's fucking cold up north. I say that looking out at the snow outside and knowing right now that right down the street, I'm sure that the Performing Arts Center has its torches out to keep people warm. So you're probably both around one of those, just like warming your hands. And Becky,
is my mech suit not self-heated?
It is, but it's also like 20 feet tall. And when you're piloting this thing, you're basically like sitting in the cockpit of, I guess, what we would consider like a forklift. It's not super comfy. It's not uncomfy. It's ergonomically designed, but like, I wouldn't want to sit in that chair all day, 24/7.
Okay.
Even adapted for your species likes to be horizontal. And the control system requires you be vertical and put your hands in the braces and move them that way. So I'm assuming your character is, you parked your mech like right next to you. And you're out warming yourself comfortably. Yes. You can either make me awareness, or you can make me, I don't know if you have hacking. No, okay.
You're unmuted, by the way. I can sort of hear you through, sound. That's it.
My bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, no hacking, just...
In the future, she's probably going to be down here with me because my mic is apparently that powerful. So
That's fun.
it's perfectly fair. So I'll be like, "Hey, Bon, how are you?" And she'll be like, "I'm doing great," and just like turns. You'll see each other at the back of each other's heads. God, I hope I don't have a bald spot. Anyway,
It's how I found out. Don't worry about it.
fair. I'm getting to that age. So anyhow, make me, I'd say, an engineering roll, if you will. I'll just have the threshold be higher.
You're an engineering role.
Okay. Engineering, yeah.
Yes,
Sorry, that was a bad joke.
If it'll let me.
it's good. Yeah.
Are you trying to hack the light?
This is to recognize.
That wasn't
something.
supposed to happen. I apologize.
It's all right.
Plus
Also,
5.
Louis, if you want to make an engineering roll, if you have that as well, you can.
I was gonna say,
Plus
I
5?
have hacking. Can
Yeah.
I hack whatever we're hacking?
You can roll hacking if you'd like. That
Yeah, I'll do
works for
some
this.
hacking.
This is more of an observational role. Sometimes I'll use skills as a recognizing
okay.
the use of another skill kind of thing. You got a big threshold.
Yeah, hacking is.
Yeah, I fucked her.
It's all right. You rolled reasonably decent. Oh no, you didn't. You rolled
No,
like
I
ass, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've been rolling like that the entire day.
I got a 7.
A 7.
Matched me.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, and that's after your modifiers. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no,
so-
wait. My luck die can explode as well, can't it?
Yeah, all your attribute
Okay.
dice can. They're both attribute dice.
That was a 6 on the luck die. I got a 11.
Okay, that's enough. Becky, you can see this tall Acris who got off the shuttle, and nearby also there's a number of other folks like waiting for transports to arrive. 2 Anazali on opposite sides, a couple of settlers who just aren't even waiting, they're just walking off, clearly going back to work. But this Acris is waiting for barely like a minute, and the bike races up.
Oh, I'd be angry.
Like for you immediately think like, oh, this must be a VIP. Like clearly they have like enhanced access to like the network. It's programmed that way. Like you want a director like EMS to be able to access these vehicles quicker.
The
But,
bike becomes black as I'm pulling off on it. I'm just like,
However, I will say, Louis, you might not be a hacker by trade. You might not necessarily be like a digital infiltrator, but you're used to working with software and that kind of thing. And you know the limits of those bikes. That bike has absolutely been jailbroken. Like somebody grabbed that thing's OS and took it for a joyride. And it's probably the guy who's getting on it that it is in fact changing color to become black. Because fun fact, in this setting, paint
Hard
is
light.
used. Hard light or memory metal, which is designed to change its color. So in this case, as you get on it, it immediately just like almost like the Matrix style transition from its stark gunmetal silver color to a black color.
Am I close enough to use my projector rig on it?
I'm going to ask you to roll me just your luck die.
Okay.
Because this is just me just seeing. Just getting done lucky.
Just a standard D6, right?
Yeah, just standard D6. Derek, also roll me a luck as well.
ooh.
Okay. So, Bon,
Yes.
he is within your rig. He is within your rig's field of influence. So you could, if you want, do something.
Well,
Louis, you haven't said anything yet. So
yeah,
I
that's
leave
what
that
I was
to you.
gonna wait for.
I'm gonna point out that bike isn't supposed to do that. Like I played with those bikes. They don't. That man's funny. He's
funny. Funny man.
he's got too many suitcases. Okay, and he's playing with the bikes, and he's a bit weird. Okay, I don't think he's allowed to do that.
I feel like I've
I'm not allowed
accidentally
to do
created
that.
TSA Simulator, the RPG, and I'm kind of okay with it.
So what do you want me to roll for a barrier to put in front of him?
Oh, fun fact, you don't roll barrier, just expend energy. And
Oh,
because you're out of combat, a round of combat is 5 seconds. So you'll get the energy back instantly. So here's how this works. If we were on a battle map, you would create anywhere from 1 to 3 barriers, depending on how much energy you want to expend. And how much energy do you want to expend?
I will create 3 barriers. I have 2 battery packs.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you have more than enough power. That's enough to deplete one of your that's enough to deplete a battery pack outright, but you know you can also recharge yours really quickly.
Yeah.
So when you do, you hold out your hand, and I'm assuming you're using this to try to trap him, correct?
Yes, like one above, one to the side, one
So you're
underneath.
trying to trap him or the bikes?
The bikes.
Okay. So you hold your hand out, and as you do, what's the command gesture you use? Because you program your own command gestures for these things. Okay. So you hold your hand out, you just open it, and as you do, your rig reads your body language and your mental compulsion to perform an action. And doing so, it begins to run its incredibly powerful processor, channel thousands of volts through its reactor, and then begin to create little tiny charged particles that move at incredible speeds. And using magnetic fields and gravity propellers, it molds that into solid, translucent hexagons, seemingly glowing like a nice bright cyan. One in front of the bike, one behind it, and one on top of it, gently pushing down. These are
Oh,
solid
I do
as
love it
metal.
when you do that. That's amazing.
They just seem to pop into existence. Just like right there in front of you. You just hear like a soft hum from your bike in front of you, Goshitaka, as you're just like, the fuck? And I assume your character knows what a rig user is.
Oh,
But
yeah, for sure.
this is probably the first time you've been on the other end of one for a while. It's not like pirates use these things very commonly. Only rarely. And usually like the whiz-bang fire thermodynamic ones or chemistry ones. Very rarely, even cryonics, but this is an engineering rig, clearly.
And I'm close enough to shout, yes?
Oh, you're close enough to speak.
Okay,
You're
that's
within, like-
yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, you're,
with the
you're,
range.
I believe the radius for it is 15, which, given that about 15 meters, you could raise your voice lightly, but you could probably be heard normally.
Okay, so I'd very casually just be like, our resources are limited enough. Where do you think you're taking that?
Yeah. What she said.
Back it up.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I hack her engineering rig?
ooh!
Actually,
Can I shut that down? No, I can't.
So
I can't.
you actually can attempt to hack an engineering rig. It's a hacking module roll, and that's what the Geist program is specifically for. Program effect:
Mhm.
on a successful hacking attempt, the hacker can immediately force the target to perform a standard action, free action, or movement action they would be capable of doing on their own turn. This can include firing a weapon, making a melee attack, or anything else they can do within the standard action, except using a field mediation action. So don't worry, JJ. He can't make you argue, but he can do just about anything else to anyone else. So
Hack my
that's if
brain.
you succeed.
Do it.
So now that said, Bond, this is an opposed roll. So you would use your in this instance ordnance or your engineering and on your intellect to oppose the roll Derek is about to make.
Engineering.
Okay. This is opposed roll. Let's go. We're going PvP for a session. Let's do
Okay.
Let's
Right,
get ready to rumble.
Whenever you're ready.
it. I am. I'm looking at the feed.
And
3,
it's just a +5. I'm not using my additives, like from the gear.
No, you would. It's
Okay.
your rig, so you're absolutely using that.
3, 2, 30.
Oh,
Damn!
Yeah. So, okay. Derek, you can't permanently seize control of a rig. Rigs are insanely powerful. They're not just machines. They're integrated into someone's biology. Wielding a rig is something that's meshed into one's neural network. They're a thinking machine when they're wielding these things. Literally a science lab on someone's back. But you can make it do a thing. And it is a free action to
Ooh.
just simply fail to upkeep
Yeah.
a power. Which
I
is
was
what you
gonna
need to do to
restart
upkeep
it.
barrier. I would be willing to say, as a standard action, you could theoretically do that. This is out of combat. So
Mhm.
I'd be willing to allow you a little more latitude in
You
this.
mean, can I reflexively turn it into combat by throwing my wrench at him?
Now, if you want to try to fight, you absolutely can. I guess I'll.
Fight back.
You all would be in like the one. I guess I actually have a battle map for this. If you guys really want to do this.
I mean, I was joking because I feel like I would immediately alert security.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. But yeah, no, you can if you want deactivate the. I would say if you want to restart the rig, you can do that. It'll be down for, I assume, a round, Bond. So it'd be like
Okay.
it would mean that the power would turn off and your reactors wouldn't be drawn from. But then, like after 5 seconds, it would flick back on again. So
Yeah, I just flip the restart switch, and very brusquely, very quickly, you could just hear like projected over a local comms, kind of a raspy, staticky voice. Oh, Saul, thank you so much for the gift sub, buddy. Oh my god.
No,
I thought that was the most, and I was like,
Me too.
okay. Love you, Soul. Thank you,
Everyone
pal.
just hears
Like-
about Soul's roles. Like, that's so
Thank you
weird.
for the
That
gift.
great character change up. I love
You
it.
like your soul.
Mm,
Love you, buddy. Much love.
yeah, Kushitaka says,
You have any idea who you're fucking with right now?
You're on my planet. I don't care.
For now, it's yours.
I'm sorry. You want to take over? You want to deal with the paperwork? You go ahead, but you got paperwork first.
Trust me, nobody needs to tell me how much paperwork I'm gonna have cut out for me in the next few weeks.
Is it because I busted your head in? I mean, sure. But no, while we're talking, I'm immediately alerting security.
Okay, so while you're alerting security, the process of alerting security is pretty simple. It's literally open your wrist link, go to the app for the planet, select alert security or EMS, click EMS, and then from EMS, click security issue, click non-emergency or emergency, click medical emergency, and it's literally just like it's a menu where you can flip through it really quickly.
Press
Yeah,
one.
emergency,
or-
emergency, emergency.
You just hear
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You're literally on your phone, tap it, tap it, tap it. The equivalent
This
with your wrist
isn't the
link.
first time I've called you guys. Thank you.
Alright.
mm,
Be like,
That
hey,
must be
Bob,
though.
me
He's
again.
back again being weird.
mm.
So you type onto your wrist link and alert security, and they give you a response time, approximately 6 minutes.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, not too bad considering there's only 200 people in this settlement, and the security is on the bottom. And also, entertainingly, when you do that, Derek, your wrist link pings security alert, presence requested of Frontier Corporation operative.
I click the responding, like I set my status to responding.
It immediately clicks on, and suddenly it goes from estimated wait time 6 minutes now. And it's just like your help should be right there, and it creates a little hard light arrow and points at Kushitaka, indicating that hey, there's your security.
What seems to be the problem?
Becky, I don't think he's
If
gonna
Becky
help.
would smirk at that, that's pretty good.
Oh god, I fucking love this campaign already. You guys are right.
What
You're
are you?
taking it.
What? Who are you? What are you? What are you doing here? Why do you need a bike to go that fast?
Probably kill you.
Just slow
Sorry.
down.
I literally that's the question I ask myself every time I'm driving on I-4 and somebody asks me, I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you going so fast? And now I'm like, oh, this guy
I've
has
got a
a
lot of biker friends who would just write me an essay like, "This is why, Paul. Thank you."
reason.
Are you okay? Do you need? Are you here to see someone?
I'm here to see a lot of people.
This is a lot of people.
This is too.
I'm sure there's a brothel somewhere
I'm
in
assuming
orbit.
there's more than just me and Becky here, right? Are we alone? on
Oh
this
yeah,
island?
no, there's like at this point, the 2 to 3 folks are like just the folks who worked here are walking away, and nearby you can see there's the 2 Anazali who came off the ship, but also there's like a couple of technicians milling about, a couple synthetics, some humans. There's even a Shrike over there, like basically like carrying a large number of crates over his shoulders without gravatic assistance. And Shrike are like 10 foot to like 12 foot tall, so it's kind of just like.
Is he within
pounding it.
15 feet?
What?
Is he within 15 feet? The Shrike?
He's close enough to see what's going on, and by see I mean echolocate, because they're Shrike and they have sonar. They don't have eyes.
Yeah, which is really cool.
So
True.
like, yeah, no, the here I'll just call it the species thing again. But yeah, no, yes, there's a number of folks watching this, not the least of which being that Anazali, the one who spoke to you before. And he seems absolutely tickled. Like, his body language is just
What an
kind of
ass.
like kind of like just enjoying the spectacle.
I need you to get off that bike and either provide some ID or an important reason, or I'm going to be throwing this wrench.
When she mentions the wrench, she hefts a heavy 2-handed spanner off of her back. Spanners in this setting are exactly like they are in the real world. They're used for working with machinery, usually sliding in between gears. This is an industrial-grade Starship engine spanner. So we're not talking the little wrench you put inside of a clock. We're talking a nearly 5-foot-long solid iron rod with a series of cogs and mechanical arms at one end. Just like basically a baseball bat made out of fucking
Something
steel.
you can't hack.
Yeah.
Hack this, motherfucker.
There's just a
Um,
ping that pops up on your wrist link with my credentials.
I look
But
over
then-
your shoulder, just like, oh, what's this?
Right, I'll be like,
So, displayed on the screen, I'm assuming just your current ones, right, Derek?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just the union job that I have now.
Yeah,
Okay.
your entire backstory just listed.
All
your
I was
shit.
born-
I was born on
20
Yeah.
years ago. So I had my
Wet bed
first
until
love
he
in
was
3rd
18.
grade.
That's
It was
weird.
awkward and unpleasant. There was too much acne. So on your wrist link, it produces a little personnel file with a Union logo at the top. The Union logo being a ring with 8 spokes on it around a single star in the center, representing the mantle, the giant Dyson ring that is the capital of the Union. And beneath that, it immediately scrolls up and shows a face which is entertainingly redacted, and very clearly fucking his, because it's an Acris, it's a Nocturne. It's in black and white, but also this dude is practically in black and white, so it doesn't really affect much. And right below it, it says Kushataka of the Shadowed Canopy, Frontier Corporation Adjuster. Started at this point, and it gives you the time of service. And it scrolls to the list. 39 planets, failed, 1 success. And it's just this sprawling list of every failed colony world that you're aware of in the sector. And then 1 that seemed to be doing okay, and then something else happened to it shortly after you left. You remember hearing news about it being like, oh, a colony world failed. And not like it was decommissioned, like it failed spectacularly, as in biosphere collapse. So you don't know what that's about, and there's something on you that's just like, you're an engineer. You've been working on this planet terraforming for years. And, I mean, the idea that 1 person can fuck up a planet that hard with anything short of, orbital bombardment or a nuke, yeah, no, it's not like this guy's personally responsible for pulling the plug on an entire colony world. But it is a little
But
weird.
it is
that 1
questionable.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one planet he okayed collapsed like a motherfucker a couple of months later. And then it shows currently on assignment, planet
Great.
destination redacted, but you can figure out from the number of letters redacted, it neatly fits the word barrel time there.
Ooh, I feel anger for BB, like secondhand anger, like just that roiling, like. Um, don't get anyone killed.
It's
I mean,
not
that's
what
just
I
good
do.
advice as is, to be honest with you. I try and do that every day. Wake up, don't get anyone killed. Done.
Don't get
100%
anyone
success rate. Like, don't want to brag, never killed anyone.
That's not what I'm here for.
Good. Then please take care of that rockhopper, because I will have to repair it if you mess it up.
This old thing. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Do you need a cuff suite? Are you okay?
Just like
Just
looks like
stare.
through you.
I look behind me to see if you're looking at someone else. Like,
I'm going
I
to take
think
this
you-
moment to very briefly describe the Sylph to the audience, because this is an entertaining species, and I do so love them. The Sylph are not like your average everyday saurians. Even though you could easily be mistaken for like a gecko or a raptor by just looking at the art of their faces, their bodies are almost ape-like. Somewhere between an ape and a panther, very long and sinewy with very large knuckle-walking arms, and an incredibly long, flowing, constantly whipping back and forth tail. They're covered in very colorful spines and spurs, and they are often... Basically, imagine if a rainforest gecko or salamander just grew to like 80 times its size and just like walking around at human size. It's basically what the Sylph are, but usually also wearing a lot of leather and like more Victorian-esque clothing. So, yes, this Sylph turns around and looks behind and just looks back forward again.
I don't think he needed a cuff suite. Maybe he's fine.
Yeah. The bike is yours, my friend. And the little energy hexagons are long gone. They've dissipated, leaving only the scent of ozone.
Yeah, I'm not even trying now.
Who's your supervisor?
I am my supervisor. No, just kidding.
That would be Arcto Spawn.
Yeah. I was like, I would just point, because I'm pretty sure he can find his way from there.
Yeah. You point just down from where the slab is, and because of the way that this place is built, it's like a step again. It's like a slowly increasing incline, and along each step is more buildings. So from where you are, you're at the top of the hill where the slab is. And also within eye shot from where you are, Derek, we can see that on the top of the hill there are 2 orbital turrets, and also what appear to be a small set of like instruments for studying the weather. Next tier down, a bunch of habs, a couple geodesic domes, a couple more turrets. Those ones seem to be giant arc cannons. These are all for like orbital interdiction weapons. They're AKA anti-pirate cannons.
Yeah.
Further down where you can see Becky is pointing is the largest hab here, stacked 4 times high, clearly some kind of industrial building. Or at least administrative, I should say.
I'm going to put in a good word. Whatever they're paying you, it's probably not enough.
I'm gonna head over there.
All right, that would definitely earn a smile from her, because I'm like, all right.
I like him. He's nice.
So the Gadwall, once you step on top of it, then, you know, it starts with a foot pedal, just like everything else, just to let it know, like, okay, disengage the brake. And when you do, you can take it down if you'd like. You don't even need to go down the incline at this point. You can literally just laterally go over the edge, just like gently descend down. And you guys hear this loud as it like as it races off. With its limiters disengaged, its sound suppression is also gone. So this thing is, yeah, this thing is basically like when you hear a Harley and the guy's motor is like one of those. It has that muffler that is. It doesn't quiet. It just makes that obnoxious Harley whack noise. Yeah, it's that basically. But also add in a hefty amount of like Doppler effect as it goes from like flying off this high pitched sound.
I am gonna go talk to. I forgot their names already. It was
Arctos.
It's Arctos. I
Yellow.
wanted to say Arkin, but I knew that wasn't right.
Yes.
Arctos.
So that's
I can see you again.
Yeah, it was getting dark outside.
It was a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that we have lights up there in the loft. It's really like
Yeah.
rarely have a need for it, but it's really nice that we do. So I'm actually going to lower this because even though it's getting dark outside, I'm still somehow being like washed out.
Flashbang.
beyond reason.
No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. It is still snowing. Wow, it is. Wow,
Yeah,
it's like an extra
This is
half
the
a
big
foot.
storm that was supposed to happen a couple days ago.
Oh,
Mm.
shit. Yeah, well, it's fine. I love the snow, so I'm down with it. Go make a snow angel later. You know,
Snow angel in
Floridians.
between streams.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Floridian and Vermont, you got to enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So you come across Yule and Arctos standing in front of the main administrative hab building, and also at the same time, as I'm going to change who is currently in this scene bit by bit. Wait, doing my best to move you guys around so you can see who's in play and who's not. That is going to be JJ. Yeah, JJ over here doing the JJ doing the I'm ready dance.
Jelly. JJ doing the
jelly
jelly
dance.
dance.
Show off.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
jelly dance.
So, in front, Arctos 03, this rather dour-looking synthetic wearing what appears to be a lab coat and pretty much like cut down atmosphere. And you see this on a lot of synthetics where they don't need a helmet because again they don't breathe. At least they don't need to. But in this case, the rest of the atmosphere is still intact. At least enough where the airbags are still there, the canvas bag, clothing, and the very thick, almost rubberized coat is there. So he's protected from the elements somewhat. And next to him is Yule wearing absolutely no atmosphere, but instead, by Oraname standards, relatively stylish tights and a pretty nice necklace. As you can see in the art, Yule is kind of a style baron and very much enjoys being that kind of person to wear like nice Oraname clothing. So you can see the two of them standing there talking, and I will say that JJ, they have been conferring for like, at this point, it's been about half an hour. And what have you been doing to pass the time while these two dorks have their like quiet powwow away from where you are?
Timo, thank you for the gift sub, dude.
Timo,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Timo. Okay, so I never really found out what was in the mountains, right? Like I just know
No.
there's something there that okay. I would say in that case, I was probably just since I was left alone, I was probably just exploring my nearby surroundings until I was called for.
Okay. That's fair. So nearby, there's a cafeteria, there's a hab block or two, there's a bar, and the bottoms of the hab blocks are kind of like common areas for most of these settlers. Because it's not like you can go out and just like build a new building. They're trying to preserve the ecosystem they're just putting together. So it's not like they're constantly paving things over. And so often the bottom floor becomes whatever they want. So one of them is an arcade, another one is a bar. There's one that's basically like a group meeting place, another that's a movie theater. And there's one that you're pretty sure is like the far future equivalent of a virtual brothel. But like in this particular one, it's just a bar. And a number of the patrons are nice enough. So if you wanted to go in there and just browse the data you can capture, you could even attempt to learn more if you wanted in the meantime.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll do that.
If that's the case, then you're going to make me a research roll. Because what you're going to be doing is you've basically done the most you can do by like snooping. Unless you want to literally walk back into Arctos' room while he's not there and just start fucking like reading his shit actively.
The fact that I definitely want to do that.
If you want to do that, it's up to you. I leave that well within your hands. I'm not going to choose how you want to handle this. So if you want to go in there and literally read the papers off his desk,
I do. I want to know what's in the mountains before
okay,
this meeting starts.
then you're going to make me a... Are you trying to be discreet about it? Or are you just trying to like walk on in?
Knowing what type of person Arctos is, yeah, I want to be discreet about it.
Make me a stealth roll.
Stealth. What would stealth be? I don't think I have that ability.
Okay, so stealth, as I recall, is tied actually to, if I can get this thing to open, because it's one of those days, folks. I was up till 4 a.m. last night working on this. Stealth is tied to your intellect. So,
So it's a D10.
yep, D10, and then you have your wild die. So you choose which of the two you're going to use. Roll them separately. And they are exploding dice. Don't forget. So that's an 8. Nice. And what's the other one? And I think we could use espionage in this. I think that's pretty fair. You could also probably use your public investigation because, again, they're kind of hand in hand on that. So that's +3, so that's an 11 on that. What's the D6 result? Okay, so not as high. So that's an 11. It's an 11. That's pretty good. So you sort of peer your head around the corner, and 2 of your 4 eye spots kind of like look around. Like you can. Fun fact with the Orname, all their organelles, because they don't have full organ systems, they have organelles. They can move them wherever they need and change their body shape a little bit, not a lot, but enough to be like, I want to be tall or fat or like bulky. You can choose your proportions. You kind of like tube your head a little bit and move your eye spots to the top so you can sort of peer around the corner.
Like a snail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much. Exactly, yeah.
Mhm.
Just sort of like peer a couple of your eye spots around the corner and like look around. And when you see that the secretary who saw you earlier, the administrator saw you early, drops and goes, oh, fiddlesticks, and then bends over and begins to grab something. You kind of take your move and just sort of like jelly your way in, quietly shuffling past. And they just sort of like look up and like, what was that? Yeah.
Mhm.
And just like leans down and the full Metal Gear Solid effect. And so you have access to Arctus's office. And I'm going to say at this point, you would do either a research or I would say research will be most reasonable for this then. And again, you can add both your private investigator and your espionage. Roll. Yes. So you should be able to get a +3 to this roll. Okay, so that's a 6, so that's +3, so that's 9.
Oh, not
Or
as
1.
good.
Okay. So I'm also going to remind you guys that you do have motes of legacy you can use to re-roll if you wish.
So that would be a 6 plus 1
plus
plus
3.
3, so 9. Yeah.
Yep. And also don't forget you have your you also have if you have research otherwise. I don't know if you do. I don't remember off the top of my head. See, because I think you do. Let me take a look and see. It should be on the top. You do. You have +1.
Yeah.
So that's actually a 10. You don't need to re-roll that. I can tell you that's quite a good success. So basically, if you roll a 10 or up, you're usually on easy street unless it's a harder roll, and you're literally looking through a dude's open notebook. So you just need to know what to look for.
What kind of idiot leaves important notes like that open?
Someone who thinks no one would ever go up in there,
Exactly.
which is exactly how he is.
Yeah, this is one of those like Bruce Wayne not being very lax with the keys to his house. What are they going to do? Rob Batman?
Right.
So yeah, no. You flip open the notepad, and as you do, when you flip through this, literally it's like the files are open. You just sort of like blink click them past, just like gently touching it with one of your gelatinous like pseudopod hands. And as you do, eventually you get towards what appears to be an archaeological assessment of the site. From what you can see, according to the drones that they've sent out there, whatever it is appears to be an Anazali artifact. It's old as balls. It is, in fact, it probably predates the galactic collapse of the Anazali Imperial by well over 2,500 years, which would put this thing at about nearly 4,500 to 5,000 years old. And from what they can tell, it's still intact, whatever it is. They're not quite sure exactly what it is. They haven't been able to get anyone out. And you can see below, like, there's a tag, Voyagers requested, archaeological find discovered, assessment impossible with local resources. Speculation And here you can see this is Arctos and Yule, a transcript of the two of them engaging in what they believe it might be, being the two heads of research for this site. And despite their very colorful language back and forth at one another, they do appear to finally arrive at the idea that it is one of three things. A space folding gate of some kind, designed for mass lifting and movement of things that aren't capable of space folding normally. So people, entire settlements, possibly cities. The amount of output from power they can read from this thing, colossal. Second thing, some kind of autonomous weapons system. A drone network or some mass system of equipment that's designed to mobilize individually. Because they have been able to detect from a sonar pulse that it's broken in multiple pieces. So whatever it is, it clicks together. But it also might be designed to independently function. So that's another possibility, a mobile weapon system. The third, and this one is underlined 3 times with a giant, warning exclamation point, Stellar Forge. Below which they go on to describe Stellar Forge as a hitherto undiscovered, incredibly valuable resource. Right below, you can see a note from Yule saying, "This cannot fall out of our hands." And right below that, Arctos, an artifact such as a Stellar Forge falling into the wrong hands could literally change the balance of power in this arm of the Milky Way. Period.
It's some Transformers stuff going on.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme. You have never seen them talk like this, ever. You've seen many of their correspondences back and forth. It's usually dry wit, very matter of fact. Arctos is not one for speculation or, for that matter, overindulgent, floral speech like that. The fact that this guy went out of his way to say this is literally a civilization-changing event, yeah, that should tell you something. Arctos actually felt a little awe enough to pen it the fuck down onto paper, or in this case, into a computer. So that's what you were able to uncover. It's one of those 3 things. A Stellar Forge, a terrifying mass drone network of hitherto possibly weaponized proportions, or a massive space folding gate, which itself is already a tactical threat. To move things instantaneously across time and space. I don't tell people how that's fucking useful. If you're a 40k player, that's Deep Strike. So, whatever. It's dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a reason you suddenly get the gravity as to why, Arctos was no one fucking finds out about this thing. This isn't some trinket we can sell. This is potentially one of the most dangerous things we found in this arm of the galaxy. And also, it now makes sense why they're not able to do much more work in that part of the area. This takes an archaeology team. They can't send mass load lifters and folks like Louis out in his power suit to just tear the fucking rocks apart when this thing is buried in the granite.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to assume that that's what happened in your off time. You're able to discreetly sneak your way back. I'm not going to make you roll stealth twice. So after you jelly sneak your way back out of there, I literally get the image of you squishing yourself down vertically to walk casually under the view of the desk and the counter, back out again. And so eventually you, after waiting and watching these two folks talk it out, a black Gadwall hoverbike comes to descend in front, which you didn't realize they came in black, and gently hovers down with a whine in front of it, seemingly from above you, which is weird because they normally come on the streets, but weirder shit. And Derek, go ahead. What's going on?
Who's in charge around here?
Arctos and Yule sort of look at each other and look back at you. We are. And then Yule, both of us. What can we do for you?
We might want to go inside, time the three of us sat down for a conversation.
Fine, let's do it. And they turn around, and Yelay pauses. Not in your office, it's too damn cold. Use the conference room. And he starts like walking in the door, and Arctos just rolls his eyes and follows. And then before he completely disappears around the corner, he sort of like does a come here gesture to you, Amaya, like a, hey, we're gonna need someone to help. And yeah. They head inside the hab to a large internal room, which is clearly for conferences. It's nice, kept at a very comfortable 74 degrees Fahrenheit, relatively agreeable. I realize I'm saying that in freedom units. I will try to do it more in Celsius in the future. I'm still learning that. So
It's fine.
yeah.
I think I'm the only one who uses Celsius, and I'll cope. I wouldn't be able to know anyway. Like, I'm fine. Do you call it freedom units, though?
Yeah.
Fahrenheit.
We'll call it here.
Yep, I think this is
No.
the exact perfect
No.
time to call it. Yes. So
Oh, Skag gets here just as we end the stream.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
he's
Skag.
back.
Ah, no.
Oh, I'm so sorry, buddy.
I'm sure there'll be a VOD for it.
True.
I love
recorded
your
it.
Acris. That was the best
Oh, thank you.
interaction ever.
I love playing this guy. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it immensely.
I'm hoping
I love
not fucking
everyone's
up the-
characters.
Yeah,
It's
I'm hoping
so-
not fucking up the entire race of sylphs with my
No.
naivety. So I'm happy.
I get to do a jelly dance every time I walk.
Well, folks, thank y'all for tuning in. This was awesome. Omni, thank you for running it. Much love, homie. Much appreciation. Had a blast. Cannot wait. As I said, it's been a long time coming, man. It's been over a year on my side. It's been way a lot longer than that for you. But
Yeah, try 20, but I'm fucking happy. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. You guys
Oh,
are
thank you
great
for doing it.
players. Derek, you're an awesome host. I'm glad to be here.
oh, you're an awesome GM, man. Thank you very much for doing it. I appreciate it. But yeah, let's do our shout outs. We can start with JJ.
Red.
Where can people find you, JJ?
Hello, friends. You can find me. I'm JJ. Hello. You can find me on Twitter at JJ_Cray. And you can find me over here on Twitch as Ben Reaper97. And I'm just here for the vibes. I'm having such a great time with this campaign. I'm happy to finally be able to bring our homeboy Omni's, world to life. So a lot of fun. Love it. So. And I'm so happy to be playing at the table with this fun crew. I know we're going to have a good time. So, hey.
Hey, hell yeah. Well, thank you for being here, JJ. Much love, much appreciation as always, dog. Paul, what's happening?
Howdy, my name is Paul, aka Ampersand. I have been your fun little sylph this evening. You can find me at AmpersandD20 on Twitch, Twitter, and of course tabletop TikTok. You can also find me next streaming Monday night on my own channel where I'm doing a Paper Mario RPG
Oh, nice.
where
dude.
That's sick.
Princess Peach, a Goomba, Toadette, and the pink Yoshi, whose names has escaped me.
Birdo.
Birdo, thank you.
Oh, God,
Chased down
Birdo.
Donkey Kong, who was recently escaped from prison. So tune into that. But yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting. Very excited to finally put some names to faces and faces to names. So that's kind of cool.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for being here, Paul. Much love, dude. So happy to have you back on the channel, man. Missed you. Happy to get to play games with you. And Bon Butcher, the woman who needs no introduction.
Oh, I love you guys. I'm pretty much nowhere except for on Omni's other campaign in Skies of Etanria. So click over.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here, Bon. Much love, much
Yeah.
appreciation. So glad to get to have
And
you.
thank you for having me. I'm pretty brand new. I don't. I had my first session ever on last night. So
Well,
You legitimately, I was about to say you can't tell, but it even sounded sarcastic when I said it in my head. But like legit, you can't tell.
yeah, you're a natural.
I would have
Yeah.
not have guessed that like last night was your first session. So
You're the best, boo.
Hell yeah.
you guys are the best. I just
Told you
matched
they'd
you.
love you.
Absolutely, we love Vaughn. Folks, you can find Red. He's Redemption VA. He has a Twitch channel called Redemption VA, which is not the same as his Twitter, which is VA Redemption, because a church took his Twitter. But he makes battle
Is that
maps.
true? Is that true?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was before he went for it.
Well,
but
yeah, I didn't think that church came along, saw him, and thought, "Fuck you, I'm gonna take
No,
it." But
they already had it.
no,
That's
you
just
know
what
what?
we
That
say.
No,
one
that's
guy.
definitely what happened, bro. That's definitely happened.
That's just what we say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he makes battle maps. He makes all kinds of amazing content. He has a book that's coming out. He has one that's already out, but you should pre-order the one that's coming out. You should get it on paperback. But yeah, he's very cool dude, very awesome person. We love Red. Thank you for being here, Red. Hope you have the rest of your days really good. We'll miss you for session tonight, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Omni, what's happening? Muted.
Omni, you're muted.
You're muted.
I was trying not to Doppler effect everyone. Hello, everyone! I'm the last Omnitect, your favorite robot American, the creator of the Legacy TTRPG system, Legacy Storytelling the World Tomorrow, and the artist, writer, and basically everything of the Legacy First Flight campaign. I wanted to thank all of you guys for being here. This means a lot. It has been 20 years I've been working on this from conception all the way to rules. And while it has started as vague levels of interesting, fun project with friends, after the first 10 years, you got to just say fuck it and make it something bigger because it clearly dominates your life.
True.
I am super excited to be back again later tonight on this channel on Covet Syndicate, which, again,
yeah.
Derek is a fantastic GM. If you don't know already, watch Covet Syndicate. If you can't make the stream, watch the VOD. It's worth it. He has a VOD on YouTube. So,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. You guys can also catch me on my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheLastOmnitect, all one word. And also, I have a Twitter @TheLastOmnitect, all one word. I do my own art streams. I do my own world building streams. And I also do, that's the Rule Smithy, the Stellar Forge. And I am also doing a occasional weekly hangout called the Breakfast Club. I am going to try again with Wild Skies of Etanria in 2 weeks. We had technical issues. My PC is an old piece of garbage, and I couldn't run VDO. We're going to try again with a Discord-based frame and just say, screw it. Better to get a stream out than no stream. And we'll try that again in a couple weeks. Keep an eye out for the heads-ups, for all the Twitter alerts. And other than that, you guys can catch us here doing Legacy's First Flight every other week. So not this coming week, but the week after. Thank you, Derek. I love you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Much love to you as well. Much love to all my cast, my fellow members here. I really appreciate y'all. I'm very grateful to get to experience this campaign and this wonderful game that Omni's been working on for so long alongside all of you wonderful folks. So thank y'all very much for being here. And to chat, so grateful for y'all being here. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to get to sit down and play games with my friends. It's even cooler that we get to share it with all of you guys. And I can't wait to see where this goes and really get to share something special with you guys, because I really think that this whole thing is something fucking special. But that's just my opinion, and it's my channel, so it's the only valid one. Anyway.
Oh, one final thing. Derek's got sick ass dice cases that he's currently getting as a result of promotion.
Thank you. Yeah, I was actually right about to hit enter on my little thing there. You can get 10% off your custom DMDM Studios dice case by going to ko-fi.com/theshadysale using code RPGINN at checkout. Thank y'all very much for all of that, checking it out. Thank you to Natisha. Thank you to RPGN. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Guys, we're going to be raiding into Infinite Monkey Tales. It is a really high effort Blades in the Dark actual play. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Blades in the Dark, but it is a very cool system.
It's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But this channel we're about to raid into, super high effort. They have a lot of stuff going on, so make some noise, be positive, share some love. We like to see that here. We like to praise high effort content. But you can catch us live here in about 2 hours with Covet Syndicate. The Morning Castle returns. Shit's about to go crazier than it already has. Current events notwithstanding, it's about to get even weirder. So get ready for that in just a couple of hours. On Monday, I don't think I have anything going on. On Tuesday, I'll be live over at Red's channel, twitch.tv/redemptionva. We will be playing some Magic the Gathering spell table. Really looking forward to that. I'm going to bring my Chishiro deck, so that's going to be fun. Oh, I did Infinite Monkey Tales. What's wrong with me? I did Infinite Monkey Fights. I don't know why I read the word fights. I don't know where that came from.
Because you're in the mood to fight.
Something, yeah. Like there's fights, there's
Yeah.
tails, there's all kind of crazy shit.
World.
Apparently. Yeah. On Wednesday, you can catch us live with Mouse Guard, ran by the very illustrious Omni, right down there. Oh, wrong direction, right down there. So looking forward to that. I get to play a fantastic weasel who's like Horaloo. I get to play a little bit more Tanrian, not this week, next week. So Thursday, I'm going to be doing some Elden Ring. So tune in for that on Thursday, probably about 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, continuing the Cold Mage run. On Friday, I think we might be having a premiere, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I have to check with Red. And then next Saturday, you can catch us live right here at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with Booty, our piratical 5e campaign that will be transitioning over to Pathfinder 2nd Edition pretty soon. But thank you guys for being here. I do love you. I do appreciate you. And I will see you in 2 hours. Bye!